it just never fails. It
would. I haven't been able to do that in a long time, man. So come on.
Yeah, no, dude. You know what? You have full license to do this. I
appreciate that.
Listen, after the last couple of weeks and the week that we've had, like the week that just passed that we're going to be talking about. Oh my God. You can sing just whatever needs to be done to regulate the emotions. We're going to be getting after. Greetings, salutations, all of the things. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time again. It is Apostate Radio. We are back in business. Chris Oland.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, those vocals make the intro. Yeah, how about that? We got and it also, like yesterday, I think earlier he posted, like, when did James get a 90s emo sleeve? When I was making,
I was wondering, he doesn't have, you don't have tattoos on your arms, right, James?
No, he doesn't. No.
Where'd that come from?
No, what that came from was the AI that from ChatGPT, because
he's out of control, man.
Dude,
it's out of control.
I'm sorry, but I'm really starting to think that I got to get more professional when it comes to the graphics, the graphic design and everything. But you know what? We want to thank you all for joining us tonight. We were away last week due to some unforeseen circumstances. We are back. I am, of course, Isaiah Carter, coming to you for now from uptown Boogie Down Bronx. And to the right on your screen is the infamous CT's finest, Nostra Chavez. What's going on, bro?
Good, man. How you doing? We hung out last night. I'm a little hungover.
Yeah,
but we're gonna make it work.
Yeah, what a game last night.
Yeah, it was a big game for DC, man. Big W.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, last night was Apostate Radio match day.
The Apostate Derby.
Yeah, the Apostate Derby. Yeah, for I am, of
course.
Derby. Yeah, a derby. Yes, we have to say it like we're in merry old England. Yeah. It's a derby.
That's the Apostate Derby, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. In it. The Apostate Derby, in it. So we had fun. We were at Yankee Stadium. Shout out to, of course, my club, DC United, and also Nose's club, New York City FC. It was a fantastic match last night.
It was good. A lot of fun.
Yeah, and my side won 2-1 rather.
Indeed.
Took all 3 points, road points at that. We're going to talk about that a little bit later because I have a little housekeeping to do. That I was wrong about something, and I need to correct the record. So, but before we do that, before we get into any of that, folks, of course, you can follow us individually at Isaiah L. Carter and at Nostra Chavez. If you followed us already for any amount of time, you know what we're about. You know what we do. And then Apostate Radio NY is our show page. You'll get all of your updates, your information, stuff like that, whatever you need to know about what's happening. Also, please support the show. The underwear fund is still running dry. The Nostra Chavez underwear fund.
Yeah, I still got a bumblebee tuna situation going on over here. So
buymeacoffee.com/
indigenous ways of wearing my underwear right now.
The indigenous ways.
Got holier than the Vatican right now. I need money. I need new drawers.
Oh dear God. Well, this is episode 27. Also, we've got Apostate Radio merch. is now available. Realtimeinc.com.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, we've got t-shirts and all sorts of goodies on that site. I will be posting it in the comments in the chat. Coming to us this week, we've got two amazing men who are both great friends of mine, great friends of so many people on, both in our circles and also in and around social media. The first gentleman that I'm going to bring up has become a great friend of mine over the last several months. He was someone that I had already considered a mentor and a friend from abroad in terms of like him, the wisdom and the knowledge that he imparted to regular people like me when it came to Marxism, communism, and all the rest. He is a hero of our time, in my opinion, and he is someone who I have had the privilege to get to know a little bit. Got to meet him over the summer, and I'll have the picture of that in just a second. But a great guy, a great friend. I love him dearly. Ladies and gentlemen, the Grandmaster of Communism, my good friend, Dr. James Lindsay. What's happening, brother?
Hey guys, good to see you.
You might want to qualify that title there.
Grandmaster of Anti-Communism.
Anti-communism might be the.
Oh yeah, anti-com, right?
Don't want to give people the wrong idea here.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they already think I've got a sleeve, so
Yeah.
God,
just guns.
there you go.
Oh man, you got a permit for those?
Oh shit.
Well,
there
you know, hands registered in 41 states.
Yeah, and I know you got that big ass sword too, man.
Jesus Christ. Right, exactly.
Right in the corner.
Wait,
Let me see that.
That's
Oh, look at that thing.
Oh, there it is.
What kind of sword is that? It's like a pirate sword or something. What is
It
that?
is not a pirate sword. It is a Chinese sword, which is,
A long
maybe
sword? Is
just
that what they
as
call
bad.
them?
It is a saber, a Chinese saber. They call them, it's called a dao, but it's a very big dao. They're called bagua dao in Chinese.
I've heard of them. Aren't they pretty heavy?
It is 7 pounds, which is a pretty heavy piece of.
Ooh,
That is sword, man.
It is 5 feet 3 inches long for those who are curious. So it's
holy shit.
and we consider it a one-handed tool, not a two-handed weapon.
Damn,
So
Chinese people that strong?
That
Like
thing,
10 of them.
maybe Bolo from Enter the Dragon.
That thing is just a foot shorter than I am.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah, it's a big old sword.
Learn something new every night. Learn something new every night. Wow.
I got a pair of nunchucks back here. Maybe
Oh
not quite as cool, but you can see them over there. The little brown thing.
A word? Nice.
Yeah. So if we
You
ever need to
should give
form
us
the
a little
fucking Ninja
demo.
Turtles or something, I will right now. I'll do it right now. Let's see it.
Wow.
No,
Yeah,
it's
man.
Yeah.
So also,
Hang on a second. I'll do it right now.
oh, you got it? Okay. There
That's
you go.
awesome.
Oh,
It's been a minute since I've.
oh,
Oh, look at him twirling them.
there we go.
Oh, he's going.
He's got it. Oh,
Yeah, but can you play ping pong like the AI with it?
oh my God. That's a thing?
Well, there's a fake video where they
at
did
that, man.
Bruce Lee playing ping pong with a nunchucks, but
Good
it's
thing I
fake.
forgot. Good thing I remember to wear my shorts.
That's hilarious.
Usually I do this podcast commando.
You could have been bringing the receipts on your claim about your holy underwear.
Yeah. Hey, man, people just need to have faith that that's a fact.
So,
Dude, it's summer. That's called air conditioning. It's okay.
I got Croc underwear.
so also joining us tonight.
Sorry, Frank.
Another great.
Frank's waiting in the wings or bullshit.
Follow this.
Yeah.
We also want to welcome here for the first time to Apostate Radio someone I've known for several years. He is someone who was unfortunately a casualty of the woke era.
This motherfucker talking shit. Master Shake. Look at you.
Really?
Far too many man boos for one stream, man.
Oh my God. The fuck.
Just sit there and fap, you little bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Like anyway. Oh my God.
I'll make him jiggle for you.
Yeah. Like, what do you want?
Oh goodness,
Woke centrist
is
boobage.
already unhinged.
It's good.
Must just
I'm
take my
glad we got
shirt
some
off.
haters. I'm glad we got some haters in there. That's
Yeah,
funny.
hey, I love it. I love it. I knew this was going to be a big show.
It's fun. This
But
is funny. I love it.
let me bring up this gentleman here. An unfortunate casualty of the woke era. Someone who quite literally lost his job as a teacher. Okay, been an educator for several years. Oh my God in heaven! You know what? Look at this here. You know what? Can you believe this? Hold on a second.
What happened?
The comment section just got 330 pounds heavier. With Dr. Karlin Borisenko as the center of her mass is just all the comments. They're ordering around.
Oh, this is great.
She still exists. I thought she died.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure who she is, but
wait.
We're gonna have dueling stalkers in there before the end of the night.
God.
We've been raided.
Oh shit, we're getting swatted over here.
I love
Jordan's
this.
here. Jordan's here. Yeah, my boy.
Oh, what's up, Jordan? All right, Jordan.
Dude, yeah. Oh man, listen.
Tell everybody to chill in that chat, Jordan.
Yeah, exactly.
Regulate in there.
This is crazy. This is crazy. Frank, how are you, dude?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm all right. When you since James has been here before, he's introduced himself to our audience. Not the crazies in the chat. The swatters and the botters that are in the chat. But you, sir, please tell our audience who you are, what you're about, and what has brought you here to this point.
Yeah, I was a public school teacher for about 11 years. And in 2021, I started a blog called Chalkboard Heresy. I was just kind of like wanted to vent and talk about kind of the ideological capture that was going on in schools. James was at the time a really great resource, and something I always like to credit him with is, I started off with like 100 followers, and I was like messaging him like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, and like maybe I should go public. And he was like, go for it. So I did, and I didn't intend to go as hard against my school district initially. I was just kind of talking generally, and then the emails started pouring out, and the conversations with administration, and I kind of figured things were going to not go in my favor in terms of having a career in teaching, at least in the public sector. So I kind of figured, I'm like, okay, I got a few months, and let's see what I can do in terms of exposing as much as possible, both from like internal files and stuff teachers were doing, and bring attention to the issue of ideological capture. This was a school district that was confiscating Dr. Seuss books from the library. I got like a a written reprimand for like asking if I could have the Dr. Seuss books to use in my history class. And it was very Orwellian, like, we're concerned about why you're doing this. I think that was kind of the trigger point. And then, the administration brought me in. They had an attorney there, and they kind of, hinted that things probably were going to be coming to a close for me. So about in January of 2022, I just went to the school board meeting after I'd already exposed a lot. I'd been on some media appearances, ripped into them, ripped into the superintendent, and then I resigned. And since then, my focus is still in education. I'm the executive director of a local oversight group called Parents Care. And we just started a non-for-profit, Americans for School Oversight. We were at the Teacher Freedom Summit this summer, and going to be doing some more events. And we're trying to really, me and my team of a couple other dads are really trying to bring this idea of like local grassroots oversight over school districts across the country. And hopefully we're going to, set up some more of these kind of groups. It's not a chapter type organization where you have a brand and a chapter. We kind of go under the shadows and help people develop their own organic groups. And, we focus, even though I got my start kind of in this arena of talking about the ideological side, we really focus heavily on like school safety, sex abuse, grooming, transparency, finances, the amount of taxes people are paying. In our school district, it's like $53K per student.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, they hide a lot of that in the report cards. They don't put in like capital expenses, debt service, operational expenditures. So when you see like 22,000 or something, it's just like instruction and teachers and curriculum. And when you put in all those hidden costs, and this is stuff a lot of people don't know. So we're really hoping to like, help everyone across the country be able to kind of do this. Like we found like when you bring oversight at the community level to a school district, their behavior changes very rapidly. All of a sudden they know someone's watching and they have to start being more accountable. Doesn't mean they are, but we've kind of gotten in their decision cycle, and they know we're always watching 24/7. They never know when an email is going to hit. We send out mailers to 17,000 homes, if something happens. So we've kind of broken what we call, they have like a comms monopoly, we call it, where the school district, is a taxpayer subsidized communications department, and it puts out propaganda that, keeps the gravy train rolling. And so we've kind of broken that. Now they have to deal with the fact that like everyone knows what's going on all the time. So that's, a long way of saying that's kind of what I do now. And that's kind of, that's my story. And so, in terms of like on Twitter, I don't really have great message discipline. I just kind of have fun and, yeah, make fun of Carlin's weight.
Lots to make fun of there, man.
Yeah.
That's oh my God in heaven. I was warned about, before we get into the meat of before we get into the what is the word I'm looking for? The things that are weighing on us heavily today. Okay. I just have to say, we were warned. I was warned in particular about your baby mama for quite some time. Like, I was warned years ago about her, and I really don't even want to give the kind of narcissistic supply that something like that is looking for. Okay, but I just find it amazing that this is what's, like they're trying to make, like, if you look in the comments right now, it's all about like, please, like, just say capitalism. Why can't you why can't you define capitalism? Capitalism is simply being normal. Okay, capitalism is the normal way of things. Capitalism as a word, as a term, was invented by communists. The normal way of doing things is capitalism. Okay? So get the fuck out, right? Just go.
I want to propose a truce.
A truce.
James says capitalism if Carlin says calorie deficit. We're gonna change the world here.
That's all we
want. He's considering it. He's like,
he is considering. Look at, he's got it in his face. He's like,
I don't know. I just wish I knew more about her so I can make fun of her, but I don't. I'm not sure what she does.
It's all really. It's not even worth it.
We probably don't have to get into it.
All right, let's go. Let's get into this. So, this week has been nuts, been absolutely crazy. And since we are talking about schools, we had another mass shooter last week. Yeah, unfortunately. And then we had, well, let me see, because I should have pulled up the link to this. We had another shooter who, excuse me, who had, thank you, school shooter tragically killed 2 kids and injured several others. The shooter was, there's a lot going on here with this. The shooter was reported to be trans, which is another piece to all of this. I'm going to pull up the.
Was the shooter officially a detransitioner? Because I know he said he regretted transitioning, right? Or regretted being brainwashed. And did he take puberty blockers or hormonal treatments?
I'm not sure of how of the extent to which we know. We know that he had transitioned legally at age 18. The guy's mother had retired from Annunciation in 2021, which is wild to me. And that just happens to be the school that this kid shot up. Okay, and then he took his own life afterwards. So my question is, this continues to be a pattern that we're seeing multiple mass shooters that identify as trans or whatever this non-binary garbage is. I'll start with Frank on this. What have you, because you had something on this actually a couple of days ago. You had said something regarding what mass shooting, regarding the people who say that mass shootings are done, quote unquote, overwhelmingly by cis people. I'm gonna pull this up, but what are your thoughts on this, generally speaking?
Yeah, there was a lot of controversy surrounding that. Originally, when I kind of like pulled up the stats, I was kind of like, okay, trans people are probably like underrepresented. That was just my like initial thinking. I'm like, let me run the stats. And I was kind of surprised that in terms of like mass shootings, a disproportionate number, on a per capita basis, have been trans. I think at the same time, it's important to a few things can be true at the same time, like in terms of absolute numbers, and depending on what definition of mass shooting you use, what criteria, the number, is anywhere from 4 to 5 to 10 over the last 10 years. But at a population level, that's significant. Now at the same time, some people pointed out, well, yeah, okay, so there have been a small number of actual trans people that have been overrepresented among these shootings, and that still 99.99% of trans people have not committed mass shooting. I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, it's same with like Islamic terrorism. Disproportionate number of Islamic terrorism or of terrorism in general comes from Islam. That doesn't mean that most Muslims are terrorists, but it raises, I think, some interesting kind of questions about, why have there been a disproportionate number of shooters being, self-identified as trans? And I don't really know the answer. I mean, I actually didn't want to like speculate too much on it. I just kind of wanted to like put up the data and see what people would say. And yeah, I mean,
so the data you shared was this. You said, I'll read through this a little bit. People have shared the graph on the left to quote unquote debunk mine by arguing most shooters are quote unquote the C word. This is preposterous. No one believes there are 1.3 mass shootings per day as we understand them. And then you have this. Is this the right one?
Yeah, that should be it. Yeah.
Okay. So mass shooting rates by demographic over the last 10 years, public incidents with 4 more fatalities. I mean, the numbers kind of speak for themselves here. I mean, they are highly more likely to do this stuff. And then you've got Asian men, black men, white men are third from the bottom on this graph. So my question is, once again, why is this when dealing with this kind of stuff? When are we the question is very similar to the whole thing about woke years ago, when a leftist, a writer by the name of Freddie DeBoer just simply asked, what am I supposed to fucking call you? What are we, like, when do we get to say that there is a demographic that is most likely to engage in this in mass shootings like this? When can, like when are we actually allowed to say that?
I don't know if it's, I mean, maybe it is and maybe it's not productive to say that, but what I think is absolutely past time to be talking about is that transgenderism as an ideology, which is a kind of critical constructivist view of self with regard to sex. So as an ideology, transgenderism disproportionately will attract people with certain kinds of mental illness, and it will almost in every case exacerbate those symptoms. And in many, if not most, if not all cases, it will offer the promise of dealing with the mental illness symptoms that the person has that led them in that direction in the first place, while slamming the door in their face. It's going to feel like you don't have any more solutions, right? And so what I would guess is that if we were to look at the population of people, which is impossible until Palantir catches up, I guess, in the future, but if we were to take the population of children who will end up growing up to go shoot a school up, right? So they reach adolescence, late adolescence, whatever, they decide to go shoot a school. If we were to look at that population, I would be willing to bet, although obviously no one has these data, I'd be willing to bet that a disproportionate number of the people who are on the trajectory to shoot a school for whatever cooked brain reasons they have, demonic interference in this case is certainly on the table given the drawings in the manifesto. Whatever those issues are that lead somebody to be on the I'm going to end up shooting up a school track, I would wager now that transgenderism, since really about 2012, 2015, is on the table, that a disproportionate number of them will funnel into that track as an attempt to solve the problems that are eventually going to make them a school shooter. So the kind of broken person, what I'm saying, who will eventually shoot up a school is, in my, just to hazard a guess where data don't exist, is extremely disproportionately likely to start screwing around with transgenderism and the attempt to change themselves. And then when the door gets slammed in their face and they realize they don't have any options, this didn't solve their problems, it didn't cure their mental illness, it didn't solve their body dysmorphia in most cases, but rather heightens it because you end up, you know, surgically carved up, messed up, the hormone influence, you know, changes some things but not others, and it gets weird, and you're kind of like halfway in between in some regards. Like, you actually just mess yourself up, right? And then you think this is going to be the solution to your problems. Now imagine you're one of these rare kids who is on this track to end up shooting up a school, and you've taken the trans route to try to, you know, deal with your problems, and then that door gets slammed in your face, right? And you're like, this isn't going to solve any of my problems. You don't have a whole lot of great options left, and you're already broken enough to be in the situation where you're on the likely to shoot up a school track. And it's like, it seems like it's going to be a trigger at that point. And the if we back it up and look, it's the false promise that the trans thing is going to work that's destroying lives more than trying to deal with it other ways. Now, of course, I had said, let's restrict to the population of people who are going to shoot up a school. So in any case, no matter what, that population, that's where they're going. But I'm saying that that population is likely to be disproportionately attracted to the trans thing. And I think there is a pattern here. I don't know. I don't actually, you know, people like to parse all these details. They like to get into the stories. It's like, I don't. Somebody's a total psychopath. I don't particularly find that character to be interesting. I'm not dying to read the manifestos and all this crap. I'm not that interested in it. Yeah. But there have been at least a few where they've gone and shot at a Christian school. And in fact, a Christian school that they previously attended. And so there's like this you know, that story is not a complicated story. Everybody wants to blow it out into this, you know, attacking Christians because they're Christians, and there might be like some ideological element to that, but it's a pretty simple story that the school was putting them in a situation they found intolerable and oppressive, and so they're going to go take vengeance on the particular school that they felt was oppressing them. Religious oppression for people who go into gender bending stuff is absolutely a normal thing. Like, I would guess, having participated in the atheist movement 10 years ago and earlier, that a significant proportion of them were like gender and sexual weirdos who felt oppressed by their fundamentalist and strict Catholic upbringings, who were just bailing out and throwing rocks at the cathedral. But 10 years ago, they were going and joining the atheist movement and going to really cringy conferences.
Yeah.
And now they're taking cross-sex hormones and super physiological doses and frying their organs, and including the one between their ears. And so there are a lot of reasons. But what I would say is that what we've got to be unambiguously, because your question originally is, when can we say that this demographic is a problem? I'm not worried about the demographic of people who end up identifying as trans. It is the fact that we're dangling this thing out instead of addressing the underlying mental illnesses that lead somebody onto that path that we need to be calling out. Like, there's still going to be mentally ill people. There's still going to be people that, you know, were known to the FBI that the FBI definitely should have done something about well before they did some crazy thing that hurt a lot of people. And that's its own different tragedy. But the fact is that we absolutely need to take off the table and be ready to be completely honest about it, that we have been lying for a generation now to people about why they have certain problems in their lives and what the solutions to those problems might be. And that absolutely has to be, you know, not taboo in any way to talk about. We need to confront that fact. And I think that, you know, we've made a massive amount of headway in the last few years saying, you know, transgender as a set of, you know, care options, what they call gender affirming care, which is a terrible name for it. It's just a complete euphemism. But that this entire suite of things, down to social transition and even the stupid social affirmation stuff they do at school and in like their clubs or whatever, all of this is an extraordinarily damaging lie that is allowing us to ignore and paper over certain types of mental illnesses that stretch from fetishes to severe cases of you know, borderline and antisocial personality disorders, not to mention people in the chat or anything. And that's a serious problem, right? And that's what I think we need to be honest about most. And I think that that's what, just a guess, Isaiah, that's probably what you're getting at. Why would you want to say this demographic's a problem? It's so we can have honest conversations about what's making that demographic a problem.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I want to add real quick. Yeah. I mean, yeah, what James said, it's like you have these mental illnesses already. You have these issues already. A lot of these kids are probably not very popular. They're not very liked. A lot of times it's why they're reaching out for stuff like this. How much more popular and liked and invited to places do you think they are when a boy starts dressing up like a girl starts dressing up like a boy, and maybe they're doing puberty blockers or hormonal therapy, and they're getting like secondary sexual characteristics? Do you think that makes them more popular? Usually, maybe on forums or maybe on social media in their bubble, Bluesky or whatever, but Reddit, but they're not probably not so much at school. And they might think, oh, it's because these are religious fanatics, religious church people who are oppressing me. So let me go out in the public domain, the public schools, the malls. Like, somebody will like me now because I'm a beautiful woman, even though I'm a male. Probably not going to happen, right? Probably it's worse. Probably people are even less want anything to do with them for the most part, sadly. And if you come to the realization that, like, hey, I was misled here by my therapist or by my teachers, my woke teacher or my woke cluster B mom, you might be even more pissed off. So I think it basically would echo what James was saying, is that this exacerbates the gender ideology, certainly makes them more pissed off, makes them more dangerous potentially. Anybody, any mentally ill person who takes this on has a strong chance of obviously being very disappointed by this and realizing it's not going to save them. And also, I know with testosterone, when you take testosterone, usually you have like a sense of for trans men, you have a sense of euphoria for a little bit, right? But that probably doesn't last forever, and that you can come down from that. And I know, if you're taking estrogen, I know that females, experience neuroticism more, right? They have experienced more negative feeling easily, generally. more typically than males do. I don't know if estrogen is going to do that right off the bat or after a certain amount of time, but I'm speculating, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's also the case. So maybe they feel a lot worse after that, partly because of that as well. But yeah, this gender ideology thing is obviously, man, it's to me, I think it's demonic in general. I think it's you're spaying and neutering kids. In the end, you're pushing impressionable children into it, impressionable teens into this sort of thing, who might be on the spectrum, have mental illnesses, or just awkward, whatever the case may be. And then you think that that's spaying and neutering them or blocking their puberty or sterilizing them is going to help. That seems to me absolutely ridiculously crazy. So, but I guess I'm just a transphobic bigot.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think a lot of this, there's an intersection. Our country has really failed, and I think COVID kind of illustrated this, to deal with mental health in a constructive and effective way. And so you have a lot of people in this country that suffer from depression and all sorts of different mental disorders. And when they can't find answers or they can't find treatment, like James kind of said, this, I think the transgenderism or the kind of queer identity becomes a magnet for those for some of those people, looking for an answer. Why am I suffering? What's the point of all this? What's my meaning? And I've known some people like that. They're often, before the trans identity comes along, there's pre-existing mental health issues that aren't addressed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they find a peer group who suggests to them that, like, look, maybe you're a different person inside. Maybe this is what you've been searching for. This is the answer to all your problems. You're non-binary, you're trans. So I also think too, sometimes I've seen comments, I saw like Matt Walsh posted, like, every trans person is delusionally dangerous and must be, locked up. And it's like, we're not going to win with it. Right. It's really good for, like, Twitter engagement with a certain narrow base, but like we have a mental health crisis in this country. Yes, I've talked to a lot of people. I've done surveys. Totally. I put out sometimes informal surveys. I'm like, hey, how would you rate your mental health since, like, in 2025, since COVID? And like 26 to 30% are like, it's really bad. And
Oh God, I'm sorry.
It's just like, if we don't deal with that, there are going to be social costs. They're going to manifest in different ways. People are going to be pulled in different directions into, not just transgenderism, but like any type of radical ideology. A lot of times people that are really miserable and struggling with life get pulled into those. I don't know if you've ever been to done any work in politics or political campaigns, but one of the things you'll notice about, you go to like a campaign rally or you go to like political events, is that it attracts a lot of like really weird people. Like, there's a lot of normal people, but a certain propensity of weird people who just, their lives are not great and they're looking for meaning and purpose.
Community.
Yeah, they're looking for community. They're trying to make meaning out of something.
Friends.
They're trying to make friends. They're trying to make some type of connections. And
those people shouldn't be ridiculed. I mean, it's not easy to be those kind of people. We're just to be clear. I don't think, not everybody is accepted by everybody. Not everybody has a lot of friends. Some people don't have a great sense of humor. Some people hang out in chat rooms of a live podcast and say stupid shit. But like, to be clear, but there's a lot of people like that. There's more people like that because of social media, because of
there it is. Frank, you brought that up. It's like the social media environment around this is actually more interesting than the event itself.
Exactly.
Like, we have not just do we have this underlying mental health crisis, which is serious, but we have this literally the derangement machine of social media. Like, I don't know if you've been on X recently, but it's like not normal. I don't know if you've been on Instagram recently, but it's not normal. I don't know if you look at YouTube. I don't have a TikTok.
TikTok's unbearable.
My relationship with the Chinese government is limited to me having given them all my fingerprints and biometrics when I went there in 2019 because I had to go through customs. Past that, I have no relationship. But
at least you got that big sword, though.
I did get that. That's from China, actually. That sword came from China. If you wonder where I got it in China. China. So, but no, like, when in the wake of this, immediately, like before people knew any answers, Like the gasoline was just getting dumped on so many fires,
Yeah.
all tapping into like people's senses of identity so that you could take this fact of this horrific attack, this, you know, tragedy is not the right word here. This is a horrific event, right? And then turn it into like your identity is being attacked by the enemy, which is like, you know, agitprop of the first rank. And I saw this everywhere, whether, you know, Frank's talking about, you know, Matt Walsh going off on his, you know, a rather not completely wrong, but like not near the mark, you know, extreme comments or whatever. But then there were other characters, you know, Jack Posobiec is like, this is an attack on Christians and Catholics. We need to defend ourselves. Immediately people were like making it all about that. And it's like, holy crap, you know, like I started thinking we've got to start looking. This is what actually was like my moment where I started to have my break from Trump derangement early on back in like 17. I was like, why does the media, like all they do is freak out about him. All they do is elevate the tension, the anxiety, the frustration. Like it's just pouring gasoline on a fire every single day. And now I'm watching and it's like the stupid CNN and all that's still doing it. It's like they haven't stopped for however they have like a channel still is even confusing to me. They haven't stopped.
Indeed.
They don't have any viewers, but the alt media has decided that, you know, the business model that they literally came into existence to defeat is the business model they've all adopted, but like 10 times worse because there's literally nothing resembling, you know, decorum or regulation on the Wild West of the internet. And so people are just saying the most insane crap all the time, turning the temperature up. And, you know, I was really appreciative watching, you know, Frank like jumped right on that, calling that out. So I don't know. I think that this is a significant issue.
I think, I mean, it is absolutely a significant issue. What I'm seeing in all of this is that you have people right now who, because of the mental illness, the deranging over the last 10, 15 years. I mean, this has been going on from where I've seen. This has been going on since at least 2010, like since the Obama administration.
And since the mainstreaming of social media, I'm almost to the point right now, I'm almost convinced, like I'm right here at being convinced that humanity isn't designed to survive social media. Like we are not capable of dealing with an immersive online, you know, 24/7 propaganda environment that's fully interactive. Like your best friend is probably repeating the propaganda to you, right? People, you're getting it, you know, it's just so unbelievably toxic and so unbelievably out of control. And it's like, you know, it's like a machine where it gets a little bit off and then it starts wobbling and then it's like flinging pieces off as it wobbles faster and faster and the whole thing falls apart. And it's like, but the machine here is humanity.
Yeah,
and,
no, I think Jonathan Haidt agrees with you on that too. I mean, he's been beating that drum with his book, Anxious Generation too. And I think it's been dividing families so much, dividing friends. I've seen it myself, arguing with family and friends because, and you know, it gets more heated than usual, I think, lately. And it's partly because people are getting totally different information. Like totally different information. So you can't even agree on the facts. You can't agree on, before you can somewhat agree on the facts and then, you know, your interpretation of it. But now the facts are like, have you seen anything that I'm talking about? Nope. And then they'll say, and I can't, you know, I'm usually hammering the left, right? And it's like, I can say that I've seen what the left is because it's all over the place. I've seen it. It's all over legacy media. I watch Real Time with Bill Maher usually to catch up because I like the show and to see what they're talking about. I watch CNN quite a bit actually, just to see how they interpret things, and sometimes even MSNBC. So I am in that, and a lot of things they're saying, they've been saying for, like, as you said, James, like the TDS stuff, they've been saying that since at least like 2016, all throughout the Biden administration, by the way. January 6th, they're talking about that like every fucking day for like 2 years at least. And then again, in an election year. So for me, it's very frustrating because the people I talk to, they don't know anything I'm bringing up with them. And I'm not listening to MAGA influencers and, you know, like those fringe, like provocateurs. I'm reading, centrist people. I'm seeing things with my own eyeballs, not AI videos. Like I'm not a boomer that and I think that's probably what they think. Like they're probably like, oh, you're just in that algorithm. And yeah, I am in an algorithm that's, critical of the left for sure. But I'm not an idiot. Like I'm not like I'm not like an old uncle or something like that. That's just getting total Russian bot bullshit all day long and believing crazy things. But you're dealing, people are not getting the same facts, and it's driving people nuts, where the point is like, I can't even talk to you about this anymore. And because politics are so forefront of our brains, it's hard to talk about anything because it's so important to so many people. It's become like a religion in itself.
Let me steer this in a different direction, because I think beyond the obvious mental illness and the psychic attack that social media and even the events in real life, like the social media and the events in real life, when they collapse, when they merge and they create a they create the psychic attacks that that have been going on right now. You have people who will normally go to whatever gives them peace. Okay. For Christians, some people will go light up a live stream chat and cause a whole bunch of havoc and LMAO and all sorts of stuff, right? And then there will be those who decide to get into the word, that will seek the face of God or whatever other religion that they might pray to, that they might follow. What's disturbed me is how the left, and even in some cases the right, but we're not talking about them right now. The way the left has attacked praying people.
They've been doing that for a long time too.
The way in which, see, Democrats still think that this is that these are still the days of the moral majority in the 1980s. When you had guys like Jerry Falwell and Bob Jones and all these other ones who were literally, who were saying and passing along, pretty crazy ideas, right? But in this particular case, the left, and I'm talking about guys like Jacob Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis, one of the weakest fucking people I've ever seen in my life. When he says stuff like this, and I'm going to share it right now. Let's talk about this for a second, because I think this is very important. This assault on religion, this assault on Christianity, specifically from the left.
Those families are suffering immense pain right now. Think of this as if it were your own. Every one of us needs to be wrapping our arms around these families, giving them every ounce that we can muster. These were Minneapolis families. These were American families. And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary. And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance. These are the sort of basic assurances that every family should have every step of the day, regardless of where they are in our country.
I truly hate men like that. I do. I hate Jacob Fry. And I don't know what's worse about a guy like that. This earnest affect that he has, where he's weak. This weakness that he cosplays, right? Like, we're talking about a man who is the chief executive of the city of Minneapolis, a man who could literally do what needs to be done at any moment to end the crime, to end the lawlessness, to put away bad guys, and won't do it because he thinks that it's a societal matter. It's something. It's a matter of capitalism, as some would say. Okay, or the fact that this guy mocks Christians, he mocks Catholics, and it's and overall this leftist mocking of religion, where he's like, well, what good are thoughts and prayers gonna do? You've got like these kids were literally praying as they were sitting, as this guy came and shot them. So how dare you?
Yeah,
I don't know what's worse.
This for me always illustrates this idea, kind of in like dialectical psychology, that like two things can be true at the same time, and we don't have to choose. Like, you don't have to choose between thoughts and prayers and like material action. And I think we're caught in this kind of like false dichotomy of like, well, which one are you on? Are you going to do something, or your thoughts and prayers? And like, for a guy like that, like, I get what he's saying. Like, he wants like some concrete solutions. He wants action. I may disagree with what that is, but in no way does that mean that people, like the people praying and the people that turn to prayer and God as a source of comfort, as a source of dealing and coping with something this horrific, does that mean that that's off the table for them? Like, they've presented it in this way that, like, Christians are just like, they just pray and then they move on. I think there have been a lot of, like, from especially conservatives and religious conservatives, I've heard a lot of solutions. They pray, but they also call for like armed guards in schools. And that's something that, like, we've talked about, like, with our organization locally. Like, out of all the money school districts have, and I don't know, like in this specific case, I mean, I guess, this man was shooting through a window. Would that have stopped it? But like, there are cases where, schools rely on the police department, and by the time they get there and they set up a zone and control and they're assessing it, 15-20 minutes have gone by and the damage is done.
Exactly.
So I think, that we can balance both of these things. I think this is one of those social media issues that comes up where, like, we're forced to choose. But there's probably also some competition from the left. The left views where you have some people that view everything as a spiritual crisis that can only be addressed through prayer or through something like, well, if we brought God back into school, this wouldn't happen. I don't know if that's true. And then you have people, on the far left that say, like, no, the only answer to this is through policy, is through more legislation.
Sorry, Frank.
No.
Yeah, no, there's a certain thing. I was going to say a sickness. I don't know how provocative I feel at the moment, because I'm going to say something kind of heavy in a second.
Come on.
But there's a certain sickness that the Democrats have adopted. The thoughts and prayers thing is like a meme, right? It's like this thought terminating cliche they've adopted. And it actually came, a decade or two ago from, some tragedy would happen somewhere, something like a shooting or whatever. And then what would happen is good, God-fearing Americans would fill the comment section around the thing and say thoughts and prayers, trying to indicate that they care, that they're concerned, that they're taking, spiritual action to try to make a difference on the level that they can. Now, here I am, that's Minneapolis, and here I am in East Tennessee, like, with some considerable effort, there's in theory something I could maybe do about the Minneapolis situation. But for the most part, I can go on social media and say things, and without kind of extraordinary effort. And so the thoughts and prayers thing is like this signal, even if you don't believe the religious and the spiritual side of it, that, they care. And so that the Democrats decided to turn this into a meme, where it's like, well, Republicans don't really care. They say thoughts and prayers, but they don't want action. By action, they mean, of course, only things that are their solutions to problems, which in this case certainly would not include hardening schools, would not include empowering the police correctly, would involve taking guns away from people. But this was really the source of that meme. But it's like going to the doctor and they test your reflexes in your knee. So there's the doctor hits you with a little rubber triangle hammer in your patellar tendon, and then your foot kicks because your lower leg kicks out because of that reflex. And it's like they see a shooting and they like thoughts and prayers are bad. It's like literally it's almost like they've been conditioned to just say, thoughts and prayers in a mocking way. But I don't hate that man. And there's a weird reason. I had this conversation, as it turns out, with Joel Berry, either last night or the night before last. Time all runs together and stretches out in weird ways in the dilation of the propaganda space. But I don't remember which day it was, but I had this conversation and we were talking about something else. And we're talking about all these guys on social media who, with crosses in their handles and, Christian in their bio, just acting in a vile way, and it's a challenge to look at that and, square, Christianity is a great world religion with tremendous value. And then you see these loudest mouth representatives of it giving probably the worst possible witness that you could imagine on a day-to-day basis. And so I'm talking to Joel about what this is like. He's talking about what it's like from his perspective as a Christian man, and I'm talking about what it's like as from my perspective. I think I describe myself as something like somebody outside the faith, but very close to it and warm to it. And so here I am having this conversation with him, and then I can't get this scene. This hits me all the time. So in the movie we made, the Beneath Sheep's Clothing film we made a year or so ago, we've got this scene. So we've got this Russian guy, I can't say his last name, Timothy, and it starts with a CH. He's a great guy. He's bigger than you, Isaiah. He is a very large man and has the biggest hands I've ever seen on a human being. Really? He's like the sweetest man in the world. And so this guy's story, roughly, he was a member of a family of 7 who was being persecuted religiously by the Soviet Union in the later years of the Soviet Union. He's not that old. But he and his family end up getting sent off to Siberia. Like they're like KGB wanted. And, the KGB had been surveillance on their home. All their neighbors were instructed at any time, they have to document and report literally anybody who comes or goes to their house. The KGB would show up and like trash their house and try to find anything. Like they'd tear apart their pillows and their mattresses and try to find hidden Bible verses and stuff. And so they could destroy them as propaganda. And so he has this really moving scene in Beneath Sheep's Clothing where he says, in his, kind of strange Russian accent, which gives it that, eerie feeling when you listen to it, because it's real. And he's like, but I'm not going to imitate his accent, but I'm going to kind of follow the wording, which I can't do exactly, but it's pretty close to like, we did not get angry at the government. We did not hate the government, because he says with the word, meaning the Bible, with the word, we take it like it is. Jesus says, they will listen to me. They will listen to you. They will persecute me. They will persecute you. So we did not get angry at the government for persecuting us because they did not know God. And I just see Mayor Fry and I think he doesn't know God. There's nothing to be mad at. There's only something to pity. And he says things like that because he doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it because he's in this Democrat meme complex where the answer is always some stupid, backwards, wrong Democratic policy thing.
Second Amendment
system
or anti-Second Amendment stuff.
Anti-Second Amendment stuff. Like it's like I said, it's like the reflex hammer. Whoops, school shooting, whack, hit the knee. Thoughts and prayers is bad. We need action. Take everybody's guns away. It's like you pulled a string on the little guy and let it go, and that's what they say. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age. But
no, you're right, James. You're right. I think look, the left has been rejecting religion for a while, and I think to their detriment. I just heard from Dr. David DeSteno, a psychologist on Huberman's lab. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He said epidemiological, I can't even say his word for some reason right now, data show that people who engage with religion not just say I believe in God, but actually engage with faith. Over a 15 and 20-year period, people who believe in God like this and actually engage in a faith, it says it cuts all-cause mortality by 30%, cuts death due to cancer and cardiovascular disease by 25%, reduces anxiety and depression, increases people's sense of meaning and feeling that their life is flourishing. Now, we've obviously become quite an atheist culture in America and the West, especially, and it's a lot of it's from the leftist cultural dominance, right? And hyper rationality, like just thinking like everything could be figured out through science, and if it's no proof of it, then why are you believing it? It's stupid. We are not that kind of, we are an animal that loves, we are a spiritual animal. We really are. Like across the world, throughout history, it gives us great comfort, great sense of community, great sense of meaning to have a spiritual community and actually doing rituals, religious rituals. Like there's a lot of data about this. And I don't think it's any, coincidence that we've only been starting to see school shootings and mass shootings in 1997, 98, really? Like Columbine, I think was the first major one.
Yeah, Columbine was the first big one.
People always had guns in this country. We've always had the Second Amendment. Maybe we didn't have AR-15s or whatever, but we had handguns, we had shotguns. You can bring a shotgun to school or a handgun to school and kill a couple people. Why is this happening recently? Why is this happening in the last 27 years, 28 years? That's the question that needs to be asked, right? And I'm not saying that I think there should be some mental health, especially for people who transgender as well. People who are transgender because they usually have some mental health issues, right? So there's definitely some things that you might be able to do. I'm not saying you can't talk about Second Amendment at all, or you can't talk about common sense gun regulations or something. But certainly this is a new thing that's going on where we have lost we've lost our sense of community, our sense of decency. I don't know. The fringes of our society are going really crazy, like spiritually crazy. I think it's not just mentally crazy. And it's leading to people thinking it's a good idea to kill kids in school, to kill little kids in school with demonic manifestos. Like it's disgusting. And it's not just guns, guys. Like let's be frank about this.
People are searching for meaning. That is the fundamental, I think, issue. People are searching for meaning, and in that vacuum of meaning, there have been a lot of bad ideologies and bad actors that have been exploiting people. You look in the comment section, you have people that promise the answers. I will teach you about the left in a way no one else will. I will bring you in. I will equip you the way no one else can. I'll give you purpose to fight it. Just give me your money and give me your time and your energy. And it's a dead end. I think, you look at the kind of psychedelic renaissance that's going on in America today. People are craving meaning, and I'm not against that. I've actually done them myself through a form of therapy, and
me too.
People are and it was profound for me. And the reason I bring that up is because people are looking for ways to reconnect with, I think, what modern society has severed, that spiritual connection.
Exactly right.
And when I won't go too much into it, but when I did it, that was the feeling I had, is it made me kind of reevaluate everything. It reconnected me to something I felt was severed.
Yes.
And I'm all for, I think we need really maybe some radical ways to look at how to reintegrate people into their spiritual lives. That's just a part of our DNA.
It's a dimension that you can't, you especially if you're super rational. I was an atheist most of my adult life. If you need evidence for everything the whole way around, you probably won't experience it. Like if you're just well, show me evidence. And if you look at religions themselves, religions have a lot of silly lessons, stories that probably aren't true, all that, right? And that's how I approached it. And I'm like, oh, this can't be true. Like if this isn't true, then most of it probably isn't true, and it's all a bunch of horseshit, right? That's how I think probably a lot of people on the left are, or a lot of atheists are, whether they're on the left or right. But there is something that you can experience, and I did it through psychedelics, but then I've experienced it elsewhere as well since then, just in normal life. I think love is one of them. Love for kids, love for your romance, especially when you fall in love, it's very profound, very deep. Something that's binding you together, right? And religion does that to a degree, and in big communities, sometimes entire nations. Like you see that with, Islam. You see people spinning around Mecca, right? And like all those movements and synchronous movements create a hive switch, hive mind. Jonathan Haidt talks about in the Righteous Mind, and that makes people feel like they're one. That makes them feel transcendent. That makes them that helps quite a bit if you're a country. That helps quite a bit if you're a tribe ready for war potentially. So there's negative aspects, there's positive aspects to it. You definitely want to, if you are going to war with people, and especially if it's like a foot war, you definitely would like to have everybody believe in a religion and feel like they're all together, they're all one. So, but this is something that's, if you didn't experience this, you are like, what are you talking about? Like, you guys are making stuff up. You are imagining things. I don't believe in silly superstitions. That's how I felt. And then I experienced it through psilocybin. And I was like, oh man, this is exactly what people were talking about. It's what the prophets were talking about. This is what some religious leaders are talking about. I could feel like I've kind of dipped my toe into heaven. That's what you really feel like. And I'm not a part of any religion. I was raised a Catholic. I'm still not a part of any religion, but I like religion now. Like, I think for the most part, people need it. It's good. I might join a church one day again, even though I don't believe half of it or most of it. It's because it's a religious community. It's transcendent. You go to church every Sunday, and you remember, like, you have a moment of elevation for an hour or two, like, with people, and everybody feels good about themselves. And everybody's like, yeah, I'm going to do well. I'm going to do better this week. We don't have that shit anymore for the most part, unless you're in a religious community. And that's a big part of what we're losing.
That's real. With the psychology of religion, you guys have hit on two of the three things, it turns out. If you read the psychology of religion, which tries to take, obviously it's psychology, so it tries to take a naturalistic and empirical approach. Why are people religious? What does it do for people, right? Whether it's true or not, it could be all true, it could be all false, it could be anywhere in between, it doesn't matter. What is it doing on like the psychological and sociological level? And the answers is basically what it does for people is it has massive effects in three domains of life. One of those is meaning making, which you guys talked a lot about. One of those is community, which you talked a lot about. I think one of the best things about church, and maybe you should go to church actually, Chavez. Like,
yeah, that's why I said I think I'm probably
one of the best things, in my opinion, about church is that you have a intentional community that meets regularly with the intention of living a better life and helping each other do so.
Indeed.
That's not a small thing. It's not just community. It's not a bowling club, which is also fun, and we should probably have those again. But it's people intentionally getting together in order to live better lives and help keep each other accountable to living better lives. And that's a big deal.
Yes.
But the third element, there are three. Meaning making and community are two. The psychology of religion also says control. People are looking for a sense of control in a world that's out of control.
Control.
That's where you get, when you believe in a transcendent God that has his hand on everything and can twist Donald Trump's head at just the right moment in, Pennsylvania or whatever it happens to be, or put the thought into his head to have him turn his head for whatever reason, whatever it is. If you believe in that, you believe that there's an entity that is ultimately in control. And in fact, a good entity. It's not a freaking demon that's in control. It is an all good, all powerful entity, right? So if you take that out, that need for control doesn't go away. And so what you see is a strong tendency to leap from the I to the we, not in the sense of a transcendent community, but I can't solve this problem, but we all could if we all did the same thing and we all did the right thing, which is obviously to get rid of AR-15s and AR-16s, which are even scarier, right? Like,
there's one extra number?
Then just wait until the AR-47s from Russia. I mean, but you get my point, right? Yeah. The idea that there are problems bigger than us. So life feels scary and out of control. People are going nuts. People are showing up and shooting kids at a Catholic school. This is how can it be? The answer is like, oh, well, we could all adopt the right magical values and then that problem will go away, right? That's literally what happens in that vacuum. It's not just that you lack the community, and it's not just that you lack the meaning-making structure. You also, I hate to use the word because of the meme about it, but you lack a coping structure as well. And you decide to try to force everybody to live in your will because you don't have that in order to get that sense of that feeling. And ideological poison like flows into your veins in those situations. I think, for example, that the entirety, not 80%, well, actually, I think the entire thing's a freaking psyops, but the entire attraction, not 80%, 90%, 100% of this thing we've called woke right, or if you don't like woke right, just say the fascists back in the 1920s and 1930s, because it's the same exact dynamic, is a bunch of people despairing that they're about to lose their society and freaking out, and they live in fear, and they live in despair, and they live in, this panic. And what are we going to do? We're going to grab control of everything and put in a radical right-wing government that's going to solve all of our problems. Trust me, bro. No solutions. Just trust me, bro. Once we have a right-wing government.
I just want to say one thing, Isaiah, really quick, just super quick, just because it's very relevant to what James said, and I'm just real quick. I just want to say one thing that Haidt mentioned in The Righteous Mind. I think it was E.O. Wilson that said it, but he said basically, I think he was an anthropologist or evolutionary biologist, and he said the thing that religion does most, to summarize it for human beings, is it allows them to do something together that they wouldn't be able to do on their own. Like religion binds people together to focus on the same goal, have a moral matrix where they know they can say, oh, somebody's doing something wrong, whatever. Like we have to keep an eye on them, but we know God's watching us, so we all have to grow in the same direction. We know that God's going to know for cheating or lying, all that stuff, and it makes people like you'll sacrifice themselves like till die to get things done. Yeah, and we could not do it without it, and we don't have it. A lot of people don't have it anymore.
Here's
in the
what,
West.
I'm just going to say one more thing,
weakness.
Isaiah, and it's
hold
you.
on a second.
All right.
What bothers that would really hurt me, I'll never forget, since we're talking about the isolation and everything that, like, just watching society ripped from each other. 2020, right after I had gotten COVID, and right after my DEI ex had left the first time to go out to Los Angeles, I went to Times Square in Midtown Manhattan. I saw, I was stood right in the middle of it. Place was empty. No people, no cars, no vendors on the side, nothing. Every single day, the one thing that had me going about New York City for the 10 years that I've been living here so far, this was 5 years back then, was the vibrancy. Okay, the vibrancy, the life energy, the passion that people had. People were genuinely happy to be amongst themselves, to be in the greatest city on the planet, some would say. Okay, people genuinely loved being here. There was an excitement about being here, and ever since COVID, that went away. And I mean, ever since COVID, when we started seeing things that, like, first off, we were ripped from each other. Okay, that was first and foremost. We let grandma die while staring at her friends and family passing by in cars through a patio window. Okay, that made me that upset me. We're watching videos of these daytime TV talk show hosts hugging people through plastic sheets, standing 6 feet apart, wearing masks, so you don't even know what people look like. You have like you're hearing voices, but you're not seeing the words come out of people's mouths. Like, you saw the tearing asunder of actual community. And then what it was replaced by, think of what it was replaced by. That's what caused the panic. The same experts, the same people who are like, well, we have to mask up, we have to, stay home and stop the spread. And that's when you had all the fucking weirdos in Hollywood singing Imagine, which is a communist anthem, by the way.
Yep, it is.
Okay. Imagine is a socialist anthem, and you've got all these celebrities and all of the foolishness. We're sitting here and people are watching all of this. They're watching this being ripped away. So now, what did we do? Guys like myself, people like myself, I voted for Biden. I was scared to death because I was so desperate for meaning. I was so desperate for normal to return.
Yeah.
And then I ended up voting for the people who put us in this position in the first place, in the shadows. And unfortunately, a lot of people did that.
Mm-hmm.
So now what you have is you have people who are searching for meaning, who are walking around like zombies. That's why trans has exploded the way that it has. That's why communism is more popular than it ever has. Because people are desperate for meaning. They don't. People stopped going to church a long time ago. So now because you've had that hole in your heart for so many years, you were disconnected from God before, and so now you're disconnected from the people around you. And then the biggest tip off to me was when Jacinda Ardern, the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, when she said that shit like, please don't believe anything else. We, the government, we shall be your only voice of truth.
Good Lord.
And listening in, like, everything that you're saying, like everything that you guys have been saying has made me, it's made me think of that, because it's like, we had our reality scrambled and ripped to shreds right in front of us. The last 4 years, we think of the Biden years. We had all the stuff with the Sustainable Development Goals and the UN and everything else that essentially, James, and again, thank you for covering all of this. Frank, you were a casualty of that, of the woke era. And we're sitting and like all of us in some way, shape, or form were touched by, like, we refused to go along with what we're being told. And I find that, and so the biggest thing that I see now, and there's something I want to go to real quick, is we're starting, like, I think for the first time, we're starting to come back to what normal actually was.
Yeah, and to your point, Isaiah, like, it is, I think there's something to be said that perhaps cutting people away from other people is like cutting them away from God. Like that is like our closest connection to God, perhaps in the material world, is your family, your loved ones, your best friends, your mom, your dad, your wife, or whatever it is. But James, what were you going to say before about the religion helping us do more together than we could apart? I think that's,
no, I mean, I guess it can come back. The moment's kind of gone, but like this desire to control.
I just want to hear what you had to say real quick.
No. I mean, the desire to seize control, like I was characterizing it, whether left or right, is, and therefore, what they're trying to fill is this sense of control that, you would normally have under, like, God's got it, like, chill. Right. And so it's evidence of a lack of faith on both sides. This Christian resurgence of woke right nonsense is just as apostate as Mayor Fry, like equally, for the same reasons, that they don't believe that there's enough control in the world. So they're going to grab control by the balls and run it themselves. Is a faithless apostate position to hold.
Amen.
That's what I was going to say.
I think we're
narrow is the path, man.
What I'm kind of getting, talking about, James, what you're saying, this desire for control, and Isaiah, what you were talking about in what happened during 2020, and I'm gonna loop this all in, and if I can get a little spiritual,
please do, Frank.
Come on, you want this? Preach.
You have the search for meaning. You also have fear. Fear is such a powerful motivator. And when I did the psilocybin, like Nick did, and maybe Nick will be the only one that'll understand this, is you had this kind of vision, and in it, I was seeing different, I was kind of at multiple times living through different kind of eras. And on the one hand, I saw kind of like I was an early hominid, and I was walking in the forest at night, and I felt this, and I heard this voice kind of say, I know how scared you were. And I kind of interpret that to be the voice of God saying, like, humanity, like, I know, like, how terrifying this world, this existence can be. And I saw that in my own life, this fear I had as a child from certain things that happened. I saw this wall build around me. And then I saw dictators throughout history and understood this like fear they had, like, Hitler, this fear of losing his country and society falling apart, and the terrible things that we are capable of when we are scared. And at the same time, searching for meaning. We're both frightened of our own mortality, of our world falling apart, and at the same time, we're searching for meaning. And that can either be an opportunity for both incredible beauty and spiritual growth and seeing the best of humankind as we search for meaning, as we're scared and we come together, or it can be the worst. It can be us unleash untold horror upon our neighbors and our own selves as we try to regain control of a crumbling world. And I don't really know where I'm going with this, but like
No, that's
No, there's a ton
hear
of
you,
spiritual
bro.
there, Frank.
No,
Though
no,
you're totally right. Like that's in the Bible like dozens of times. It's in Psalms, it's in Matthew, it's everywhere. Actually, it's in Isaiah. It's like the Lord is with you. Who will you fear? Of what will you be anxious? Like this is everywhere in Scripture. And so like faith, it's like, I don't know exactly. I've not sat down and worked out the wording for this, so I sound kind of dumb every time I say it because I can't figure out the right wording. But it's like the same way when you're in a dark room and you turn on the light actually, in a sense, drives out the dark. And I know somebody out there is like a physicist and is like literally crapping on themselves over what I just said. But that's how we all think of it, right? Like the light is driving out the dark when you light a candle or you turn on the lamp or whatever. And faith drives out fear in the exact same way. When you start to lock on and believe, like, no, we can get through this, right? Like the fear actually subsides. And so that's why I'm saying that this is an apostate, this desire to seize control over your fellow man is an apostate belief structure because you lack faith. So you feel like you have to grab a hold and control everything. It's a perfectly human response.
I remember
it's as real quick. I say it's people got to remember. Like I try to, I don't always succeed at this, but you got to try to be compassionate because every human being on earth ever has you forget how, sometimes you forget of how like crazy life is and how scary it is and how you are tossed into chaos and like religion and moral foundations and things like that help us and connections with the community and rituals help anchor us in the it's kind of a storm of I think if we could see it from a more quantum physics realm or spiritual realm or something, it's kind of like you're in like a soup of things going on. Anything can happen really, and it's like it's crazy that we are as sane as we are sometimes. It's crazy that we are as normal as we are, quote unquote normal and well adjusted and socialized as we are. And I think we got to try to be more compassionate for people because we're going through something right now that's like with social media. We don't know what's right. We don't know what the truth is. We don't know who to trust. We're seeing a lot of scary things on both sides. The left is seeing Hitler coming, Trump is Hitler, and there's more a bunch of Hitlers all over Europe. And we, people like us, people who are worried about the left are seeing communists coming, and there is communists coming. So
communists are here.
Yeah, they are here. Some of them are, so it's like we are living in this world where there's threats all over the place, and in some ways it's the safest it's ever been, but that's not what our eyes are telling us. That's not what the information we're getting in is telling us. We're saying that there's threats everywhere. It's very disorienting.
That's what's really changed for me over the last few years, especially by the last year and a half, is feeling like I was somewhat naive to how we talk about like the woke right, whatever you want to call it, how these forces could kind of mirror exactly the same thing I was fighting against in 2020 and 2021. And, James and I, we gave a talk out in, North Dakota a few years ago. And, one of the points of our talks was I talked about like what was happening in my school. And my biggest fear was this radicalization of kind of the social fabric through public education and what that would do to our republic. And what I didn't anticipate, and I wish I kind of saw it possibly coming. I just didn't think it would happen as quickly as it did was that you'd have the answer to that would be people that say, well, I'll give you a solution, and it's just as radical and in many ways just as dangerous. And so in some ways, the left kind of, this is what I warned. I remember talking to teaching colleagues in public schools, and they were where I taught at Waukegan High School, and especially one colleague in particular, she was like, this is in 2020 or 21, rubbing in my face like, haha, you guys are going to get crushed. And I said, you better be careful. Like, the response to this, if you keep provoking this, if you keep doing what you're doing in schools, if you keep inciting people and making them scared and threatening them, you may contend with a monster that you're not ready for it. I think that's kind of what we're seeing emerge, kind of on the quote unquote new right.
Yeah,
this is their solution, is a rejection of everything this country was built on. We'll give you a solution to communism. We'll give you a solution to the radical left, and it's just as dangerous, just in a different way. They don't see it that way. They think it's going to work out great for them, that their heads aren't going to end up on the chopping block because they're on the right side of this. But history tells us that, never works out that way.
you gotta be concerned about the backlash too, the pendulum.
So
if they get power,
Daryl Cooper. Daryl Cooper's like, democracy is the disease, tyranny is the cure. That's one of his quotes. Another quote is, fascism is just the response normal people have when they realize the left isn't going to stop. And it's like Frank said, it's nice that we have a history teacher on the show here. Like, hey, history teacher, what happens when that shit goes down?
I don't understand that. Like, and listen, when it comes to Daryl Cooper, who I've unfollowed and just completely, like, I don't want to hear anything else that he has to say.
You want me to do weird stuff with my hands so you feel more at home with him?
Is that what he does? I haven't seen it.
No, it's not what I just did. I don't know what he does. I just know he does weird shit with his hands while he talks.
Well, listen, nothing could be worse than this here. Okay, the bird hands. This is like the classic feminist and like you need to understand this, guys. Yeah. So I want to talk about this for a second. It's been bothering me too. This tilt towards fascism that so many of these people have been, like I said, with Daryl Cooper and even Tucker bringing on Orrin McIntyre in a burqa. I've never.
Hey, hold. No, Orrin got a shout out from Alexander Dugin today, saying he's writing great. Like, I know, it's like, I didn't know that Russian Satanist weirdo likes this Jawa so much, but here we are.
Oh shit!
Oh, I'm sorry, he's a homeless Jawa. That's more accurate.
I don't understand.
Jawa, is that a Star Wars reference?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
My issue.
He's
got a good deal for you on some droids.
Oh my god! No, my wife actually found like this pot, this planter pot that was R2D2. We were in some store today and found an R2D2 planter pot that had like bamboo in it or some shit. It was funny as hell. Why is there? So it's like communism is already here. Okay, we've got. I mean, there's so many examples of communists within, like, on the local level. We had communists on the national level that are still getting purged. I mean, flat out Satanists. We'll get to that in a second. Why is there such a push for fascism from these formerly, the formerly moderate right-leaning figures? I've never understood this. And
you want to be real about this?
I mean, what? Well,
I'll be real about this if you want. The answer is
hold on.
Big bags of money.
Big bags. But look, James, before you go any further, what's the point of you even being on my show if you're not going to be real?
I'm just saying, not everybody wants to hear that the exact same kinds of forces, it may not be the same people, it might not be the same crooked billionaires, but the exact same forces that brought us the amplification of the woke left, not its academic genesis, not its crackpot activists, but its amplification. The exact same forces that brought the amplification of the woke left are bringing the amplification of the woke right. How? By going around and offering them lots of money to keep doing what they're doing, as long as they do it a little bit more radical than they are. That's one way. Another way is by spending lots of money to do bot farm shit to cook their heads with their likes and retweets and struggle sessions in their comment sections, things that they experience on social media. Like, do you know how easy it is to derange somebody who's just a little bit narcissistic by making sure that they get like 50,000 likes on every radical thing they say and like 30 likes on everything normal that they say? You can absolutely kill somebody for a few $100 a week.
Also, especially if that's how they make their money.
I hate to say it, but the kind of Occam's razor of this, you know, and it's not as exciting as that. You know, there's no easier way to get, you know, 50, 100,000 extra followers on X right now, and that's to start saying this stuff, to start being, you know, it's different. It puts you in a minority. It makes you stand out. It makes you unique. So you start doing that, and all of a sudden you can gain a quick following. It's narcissism. It appeals.
There's like a whole like cult following that blows you up and builds it up around you. So you'll go, you want to gain 50,000 followers. I don't recommend it because in the long run, you're going to end up in a ditch. But you can gain 50,000 followers by taking your stand against the Jews or whatever it is right now.
Not worth it.
Of course, a lot of that's, you know, fueled by Islamic and Russian influence agents. I would say Chinese, but I don't know if the Chinese are as savvy on these particular issues. Chinese bots stick out a little more.
I mean, well, it's hard for them to stick out. I mean, but anyways, this is there is something I wanted to share real quick. So it looks like Andy No, who's been fantastic with his reporting on what we talked about earlier in our conversation, boys. He's dropped some new reporting this evening. Secrets inside the Westman family. Has Mary Westman been wrongly vilified? Let me see. I spoke to someone who knows the family of the Minneapolis trans mass shooter. According to this source, it was James Allen Westman, not Mary Grace Westman, who was the most affirming of Robin's gender dysphoria. Jim is very liberal, as I saw on his social media before he deleted it. Oh, there's the tell. After the divorce, I didn't know they were divorced. The couple's 5 children allegedly looked to him for affirmation on choices their mother wouldn't support. Quote, Mary Grace was very conservative and Jim was not, the source says. She had been involved in pro-life activism, having given up her first baby before the marriage for adoption. Because of this dynamic, the kids always went behind Mary Grace's back to Jim for approval of doing things she wouldn't approve. Oh.
So you're saying it was the father that was pushing this or allowing this?
Time.
Wow, that's not typical, but if that's true.
But you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense in this case because Jim Allen Westman was a government contractor. Remember, Mary Grace Westman retired from the Annunciation Church in 2021. So I didn't know she was very conservative, but Jim Allen Westman had worked for a government contractor by the name of Esri, ESRI, for like 29 years. Alex Jones reported on that on Friday. So it's like, so that makes perfect sense. And especially when you consider the CDC right now, they finally got rid of that guy, or no, I'm sorry. He basically wrote like a, you can't fire me, I quit. That Dr. Demetre Descalaskis, or however the fuck you pronounce his last name.
Is that weirdo? Yeah,
I wanted to talk about that too, because like I feel like he's a part of like that whole, like there's a connection there, right? Like you see these guys, these government contracts. We've got some real wicked people working either in or around the federal government. And like, how much of this, like Frank, I know we had mentioned, we said we're going to talk about this a little bit. How much of that overlap are you noticing in this regard? Because I'm gonna pull up some of this information about Dr. Demetre while you answer the question. Frank.
Overlap with regards to the CDC and
because we've got so if Jim Allen Westman was the problem, it was the one that the family was centered around for all of the socio-political decisions by the kids. And especially, and this obviously got worse after they divorced, apparently. I didn't know they had divorced. How much of this overlap are you seeing between government contractors and people currently working with people? How many? I can't even. This is sounding ridiculous. How much of this overlap are you noticing where the same kinds of people who are in the schools end up working within the government? They all sound the same, talk the same, have a lot of the same views. What are you noticing?
Yeah, there's definitely a kind of cottage industry of consultants and professions that have found their way into, it's really good business to be able to get into government offices, especially like we locally have noticed, and I'm sure this is true across many school districts, probably most across the country, is that they have kind of these professional circles where they kind of they put themselves and their friends and their family members into positions of power, and you have these, and then they hire their friends who are consultants and quote unquote experts. I'm talking more at the school level because I'm not super well versed at the CDC level, but this is definitely a big business, is to get into government and the gravy train, keep it rolling. And like we've seen it, like our school district, for example. I mean, every board meeting there is a new person hired as some type of expert who's going to fix all the problems, charging hundreds of dollars an hour. I mean, we just had one that was oh God, what was it? It was charging like something like $5,000 a day.
Yeah.
To provide some type of consultancy service. This is a big issue inside public schools. I'm assuming it's at every level of government, is that when there's public money involved and there's no oversight or very little oversight, which is a problem. It's carte blanche to
corruption.
Yeah, I mean, corruption.
They're parasites, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's really the problem we're facing. We see this. I can speak to public schools. I mean, when I was teaching, every year the amount of a speaker charging $30,000, a new consulting group, a new person hired. I mean, it's just a never-ending gravy train at the taxpayers' expenses to come in and to offer a solution, to fill some new made-up position. That was the big issue with DEI.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, I mean, obviously ideology was a huge component, but there was an incredible amount of money to be made. To say, I'm going to be the equity supervisor, and then I'm going to be the coordinator of student access. These really Orwellian terms. I don't know what results they produce, what they actually do. Our school district in Lake Forest, Illinois, has hired for, it's like $8,000 to $10,000 a month, communications consultants, and you'll never guess what problem they're solving. The problem they're solving is our organization, Parents Care. They're like emergency response. Every time we send out an email, how do we manage public perception? How do we respond? And taxpayers are paying it.
Yeah.
You know, $10,000 a month to respond to oversight, to manage the narrative, to manipulate the public perception. I mean,
when you aggregate all that spend across these freaking lice that are sucking at the body of our government or public schools and many different government agencies, and it's that's a lot of money that could do a lot of good if it was put in the right hands or put in the right to the right cause.
Exactly. I mean, when we say
it's our money, but it's
when
our
we talk
money
about
too,
like in
remember.
public schools, like in our district, and we're on the higher end, 51,000 per student per year at the high school level. And, we did some calculations, and the majority of that, more than 50%, does not reach the classroom. Where's it going? This is where it's going. It's really a great, being in government, like people that haven't been in it, it's a good gig. For especially if you know how to do it right. I'm not talking like a lot of teachers complain and but like if you know how to do things right, how to really manipulate the system, how to make some extra money, selling yourself as a consultant or offering a service or going into administration, you can make a lot of money. You get a great pension. You can make a lot of benefits, producing absolutely nothing.
Like that was my biggest issue with DEI. Like I sat and I watched, like I said, 5 years ago, I was literally I lived with the DEI industrial complex in my ex. It was just like seeing the psychological effect on her and watching the kind of narcissistic supply. Like this is just flat out, I'm gonna say this. I don't think it's an accident that there's so much narcissistic, that there's so many narcissistic people that have just cropped up over the last several years. I don't think it's an accident. I think the narcissists have been bred. I think they have been they've been encouraged. Cluster B behavior is celebrated these days. And I'm talking about this because like everything that's happening right now, like DEI and all of the, like, think of the narcissism it takes. Think of the narcissism it takes to work in an industry that produces absolutely nothing, okay, is expensive as shit to maintain, yet you feel like, and you're given unlimited firing and hiring power, which is one of the reasons why DEI cropped up first in HR departments, But think of the narcissism it takes to have a position that produces nothing, causes nothing but agony, okay, and then you still have the audacity to believe that you want more, that you deserve more government money, that you deserve to get more funding. And
I hear that a lot, man. I hear from the left, like Democrats, people don't really know what they're talking about either. Like people who mean well, they're just like, Democrat people that I know. They think that the school system would be fixed if we just gave them more money. They need more money. They need more money in these areas. It's like, is that? I don't think that's the fact, man. I think, especially if you're talking about like the hood or something like that, like, like really poor school systems where the kids aren't doing well. You can throw as much money as you want at that stuff. Like if the kids don't have like dads at home, like or a big enough percentage of them don't have dads, the whole culture is gonna be fucked up. Like that is just a fucking fact. Like if the kids are like, if it's just like, there's not enough dads at home to be like, hey, behave yourself. Hey, don't do that. Hey, especially when they're teenagers, because mothers can't control teenage boys. They can't. Like it's very difficult for them to control teenagers because just you can't scare them with hitting them anymore, and mothers aren't going to call the cops on their kids. So what are you going to do? So that's the big thing. And they always say, well, we need more money. It's horseshit. Horseshit. More money is not going to fix that stuff. Maybe it's help a little bit, but it ain't going to fix it.
You're right. I ran into this all the time where, you could have the most engaging curriculum. You could have the best instructional delivery or quote unquote pedagogy, as they like to call it.
Mm.
But, you know, a kid gets dropped off, you know, by his dad, and the kid reeks of weed because his dad's smoking weed in the car, and the dad's going to go home and like sleep around the rest of the day and is on welfare. Like, how do you reach a kid like that? I mean,
Good luck.
Good luck. I mean,
I couldn't go to school high. Are you kidding me? Jesus.
But you know, the narcissism, like you were mentioning, the worst part about it is narcissism is so effective, like on social media or in government, and because people love confidence, and people love, even if you're full of shit, people love that. There's nothing more boring than to go on social media. And sometimes, like my lowest engagement stuff, people are like, "What do you think about this?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm not an expert. You know, I don't know everything, and I can't be expected to know everything."
Exactly.
That's my social media Achilles heel. Is I'm like I'm not very narcissistic, and you know, it's like that with teaching too. You know, like sometimes like I'd be observed and stuff, and the principal would be back there, and it would make him really uncomfortable. A kid would ask me a question, "Why did this happen? What do you think the cause?" I'm like, you know, I don't know. It's a good question. I was like, let's look it up, and they're like, you know, writing notes like teacher didn't. I'm like, no, you can't expect people to know everything, but like, whether government contracting or going back to social media, people love that. Someone who's an authority on everything. And I've joked about that too. Like I can't, like, that's a big problem with social media too. You know, going back to it's like people are expected to have an opinion and be an expert on everything with very limited information. And look, we all do it because we want to be a part of the conversation. But sometimes I'm going to bed at night and I'm like, do I really know what the fuck I'm talking about?
Yeah, me too.
And sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Someone's asking me about like, you know, windmills and solar energy, and Elon Musk said this, and I'm like, you know, I can use ChatGPT and give me a breakdown, but I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So
Right.
I have the inverse problem, Frank, which is that when I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't say anything. Like, and then they're like, "Did you notice James Lindsay didn't even talk about the windmills?" And it's like, the hell?
Say anything. Like,
What's he covering up? He works for the Mossad.
The Jews are paying James Lindsay to stay quiet on the windmills.
Yeah,
right,
It's
like
a conspiracy.
you can't be an expert in everything, man. Anybody who claims to be is full of shit.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, the jack of all. But that's where jack of all trades, master of none. Like, come on.
Well, a lot of the biggest people on social media are famous for being famous. Like, they're literally famous for being a loudmouth about every drama that has emotional valence. I've been reading this book called The Constitution of Knowledge, which is by Jonathan Rauch. I do recommend it. It's really good. It takes his idea of how, you know, liberal societies are able to successfully generate high levels of, you know, truth with fidelity. And it's got an interesting hypothesis as it boils it down to basically 3 principles. But I will warn anybody who reads it, as much as I like Jonathan and I have a, you know, working relationship with him, he's got, you know, a shining case of TDS that comes through and makes the book sometimes a little challenging to read, especially given that it's about epistemology. But at any rate, he makes this case in this book about how, and I think he's borrowing off John Haidt a lot, but he makes this case in his book where he's talking about how if you give people information that has high emotional valence versus low emotional valence, like they will literally I mean, he doesn't phrase it this way. He's professional and gets it right. I'm just going to say it makes them stupid, like right away. And he gives this example of like a situation, which I forget what it is. It's like deer or something like that causing property damage versus crime in some like super rural area where there's like literally no crime. And they describe like the way that the deer like trample all this stuff and just destroy all this property, and it costs this many tens of millions of dollars per year. And then they talk about, you know, home break-ins or whatever, and there's basically none of them, right? And then it's like you have $1.5 million available for the county. How you want to allocate it? It's like an experiment in like social psychology or whatever. And what happens is these people who have zero crime allocate most of the money to crime instead of to the deer that are actually destroying their property. And one of the weird findings is it doesn't matter how much money, how much damages you say the deer are causing. Like you can make the deer be doing like tens of millions of dollars of damage, and you could spend $1 million and fix it. And people are still like, no, we have to stop the crime, because crime is so like emotionally resonant with them. But like, no one gives a shit about deer. And so it's like what you see with this social media, what these influencers, a lot of them, like when I say they're famous for being famous, they're actually not. They're famous for jacking with your emotions on every issue in some blowhardy way. Like, and they aren't trying to come out and bring you information. They're not trying to educate you. They probably haven't read a book in a few years. At least not one that they didn't get paid to read so they could put a blurb on it or something. And they're just ratcheting up your emotions, but we keep talking around these same things. Like, where's all the mental illness coming from? Well, people are going online and like, my most trusted voice screws up my emotions every single day. And it's like, wonder why you feel like that.
Hold on.
You know?
One quick thing. Okay. I've been avoiding the chat intentionally because we've been raided by,
there is no chat.
There is no chat. Yes. We've been raided by Frank's baby mama's cult. So, but this guy says he says something. He said something interesting. Like, by the way, Roush was a founding board member of Braver Angels, who was associated with the Fetzer Institute. Remember, Lindsay attacked Fetzer.
Yeah, they love to boil up this.
But hold on a second.
And I talked to John Wood on a podcast, and I did one of their debates. Like, so what?
But hold on a second. You idiots have absolutely no concept of broken clocks being right twice a day. You can learn something from people you don't necessarily agree with. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
His epistemology is rock solid. It's some of the best that I've read. And if you would have brought this guy up a couple of years ago, like everybody would have celebrated him because he wrote a book, Kindly Inquisitors, back in 1992, that if you would have picked it up in 2021 and read it, you'd be like, this guy just wrote this book about woke this year, but the examples are a little out of date. That's weird. They're all old examples because he had it pegged to the wall. And so it's just a very, very cut and dry articulation of what boils down to why scientific universality actually works for generating knowledge, if you know anything about this epistemology or the philosophy of science. But what's going on is these retards in the chat who have literally, they're not real, Isaiah. These people are not real. There's probably a person, but it's either their job or literally what they jerk off to, that they try to catch their political enemies in apparent hypocrisy to discredit them. It's the woke game of undermining somebody else's credibility over something stupid. So these people try to tie me to Braver Angels like all the time. Like, I don't know if that's a great organization or not. I understand I didn't know at the time and I wouldn't have known what it meant that they were connected to the Fetzer Institute. The Fetzer Institute is a steaming pile of shit. And literally the reason that motherfucker knows what the Fetzer Institute is because of me. I put it on the fucking map. So these people come out and they do that. Like, I don't mean to be all like agitated, because I'm sure this guy's like beating his meat and laughing his face off because of it, that I'm like agitated. But I read this shit 30,000 times a week where they think they caught me in some fucking stupid hypocrisy where, and the problem is that motherfucker behind that cartoon character is probably 15 years old. So this is why, like, you've been ignoring the chat. Always, there is no chat.
There is no chat.
There is no chat because 70% of the chat on X is fake. It's not even real.
Yeah,
you were arguing with Chat GPT. Now imagine this. You've probably read in the past year thousands of comments that were written by AI. You may or may not have engaged with them. You may or may not have replied to them. You may or may not have like argued with them, sometimes extensively, but you read them. Thousands of tweets that you read generated by a chat service, which means that's thousands of minutes of your life, hours of your life in the last year. That's all got an emotional, agitating component to it. That's not even real.
Yeah.
You literally were having your time wasted by looking at it at all. And this is the thing, like, I watch some of these people, God bless her. I used to work with Helen Pluckrose a lot, you know, she and I are still friends, and I would watch her argue with people till literally like she was going to break. And I'm like, half the time I'm like, I think she's arguing literally with an AI.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've all got to, the point is, the take home is we've all got to stop how we interact with basically social media. If you don't, my rule now is if I don't know you in person or don't have a pretty strong reason to believe that there's a real person on the other side of that thing, like, you are a Russian bot, and I don't give a fuck if you're not.
Yeah. I agree. I try to. I mean, I probably argue with bots before, but I usually sniff them out pretty well, I think. And I usually have a lot of numbers at the end of their name, and I'll tell them, I'm like, yeah, sounds good, bot. Sounds good, man. I mean, you can't get too angry at these.
Sounds good, bot. And you just wasted 10 extra seconds
even that.
of your
Even
life.
doing that. If I even mess, I don't even respond.
By the way, hold on a second, guys.
Crabs on my nuts.
Exactly. I got
a lot of those.
No, I got something for you fucking guys and for you bots in the chat. You see this?
Oh, look at this.
That's from earlier this year.
Where was my invite, man? What's going on here?
Yeah, you were in Connecticut.
Not that far away, man.
No. Listen, I met James in person back in May. I was on my way home from work.
I remember. I'm just kidding.
I had just gotten off, and he wasn't far from. He was like right along my my train line, and I was like, you know what? Let me stop by, and I got to meet my good friend, live and in color, and so guess what? I know that pisses you off. I know that's going to piss a lot of these bots off from the chat, but guess what? The man is my friend. Okay. You guys literally, the one thing that I will never understand.
Me and Frank are gonna hang out by ourselves too. So
no.
We can't come.
Yeah, you guys aren't invited.
We're not allowed.
Yeah.
Listen, this is what
get some real life friends, bots. That's the take home message. Get some real life friends if you're an actual real person.
I care about my friends. Like I'm gonna be honest. Like that's something that does not happen much anymore these days. Is people don't show love for their friends. Like they don't stand by each other. That's something that we kind of forgot how to do after the COVID era, when we lost meaning. Okay, when we all started to lose our way, the biggest issue is that we lost, something was lost. We lost purpose. We lost how to be friends, to be friendly, how to, oh my God, we lost the ability to care for each other. Okay, and as we lost that we lost the ability to be outwardly directed. We became inwardly directed. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem that we have today is we have that's why narcissism is so, like I said before, narcissism is so gigantic these days because no one has any purpose. People are lazy, both intellectually and otherwise. No one wants to do the hard work of figuring, you know what? Of stopping themselves and thinking, something, maybe I am a little too inwardly directed. No, people are just outwardly choosing the darkness and then claiming, well, I have to choose the darkness because it's someone else's fault. I have to be evil because you made me evil. It's the same shit you hear from abusive husbands when they're beating the fuck out of their wives, and the first thing, and as they're beating them, they're like, look what you made me do. That seems to be going around, and it's happening all the time. And it's truly disturbing. So again, folks, let's care more for each other. If anything, like just us guys talking, like we need to be better to each other. And I'm not.
I'll tell you what, amen. And we've implemented Apostate Radio. You guys remember those Valentine cards you used to send to your bros?
Hold on.
Back like second, third grade. You like the guys and girls, everybody. Me and Isaiah, we sent a lot of Valentine cards like that to each other.
Oh fuck!
Like Voltron cards, like you guys know, like the
it's like like it's kind of not romantic, but those old Valentine cards you send to everybody in the classroom.
Like the like, what is it? The green lion, and I'll be like the blue lion, and then Voltron will have legs or something.
What you're seeing in the chat is, let's just be honest. It is the orchestration. It is the orchestration of Dr. Cluster Borisenko. She has posted about this about 10 times. She is seething. She is still mad.
What's she posting about?
And grieved. Oh, about this chat. I mean, she's just
furious.
Really? The fact that, like,
look at it. We had almost 11,000 people. Was here. Thank you.
Wow.
This is
She's really mad. Here's what happened. A few months ago, she was drunk. She accidentally sat on her dog,
sweetheart.
And it died.
That's true.
She has not gotten over that. You want to go to conspiracies? Here's what I'll say. You ever see Shrek? You know when Fiona turns into the ogre? I have never seen Fiona, ogre, and Carlin Borisenko in the same room together. I'm just saying.
Donkey, get out to there. Get out to there. What are you doing?
You know, I wanted to say, James made a really good point about this. We're kind of going back, but to this emotional valence issue. And we were talking about DEI. And this is something that really struck me. I mean, look, there's definitely, like, there are teachers and stuff, and there are people that are what I call true believers. They really believe in this. But for a lot of people, too, it's just a really good grift, especially DEI was.
Oh, yeah.
And it became a highly emotionally charged way for a lot of school administrators to distract from their failures. I'm just going to, like, read, if you can give me a moment. This is what I said when I resigned. I was at a school board meeting. I was talking to the superintendent, and I said, our schools are on the verge of collapse from behavioral chaos, violence, and staff burnout, and a 10 to 12% student proficiency rate in math and reading. These are the fruits of Miss Placencia. That's the superintendent of Waukegan High School, Waukegan School District's half-decade with the district, for which she has been awarded a 45% increase in her base salary, earning over $300,000 a year with a taxpayer-funded pension worth $16 million. I said, suddenly this is no longer about her incompetence, but the ghosts of implicit bias and racism haunting our schools, which she will now exercise through her diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that will cost the district millions. So, you know, this was great for, like, public and any sector of government. Take, you know, their failures, the grossly inflated bureaucracy, the millions they were bleeding taxpayer money, and say, wait a second, guys. Here's the real issue. It's racism. Exactly. It's equity. And if you turn to me, if you give into this solution, we'll fix it all. We need more money, we need more staff, and we need to do these things. And that's the same thing you see on X too. You know, people on the quote unquote woke right, you know, they're pointing a lot of the problems that they're presenting and bringing up. They're real problems. You know, mass migration and violence and drugs and government corruption. But they're saying, you know, papal monarchy, that's the solution. I mean, these ridiculous, absurd panaceas to these very
I'm telling you,
problems.
Frank, I told you, it's the trust me bro mentality, because critical theory only does critique. Right? What's woke mean? Woke means does critical theory. Like, it's not that hard, right? Critical consciousness. So you do critical theory, but it only does critique, because the definition of a critical theory is that you can't articulate the better system on the terms of the existing system. That's what Max Horkheimer, who invented it, said. So you only can do critique. You never give a positive vision for the thing. So it's trust me, bro, right? So, you know, you have this failing superintendent of schools at your school district, and, you know, she's like, oh yeah, well, the problem is we have all this racism and I know how to fix it. Trust me, bro. And it's the same thing, you know, it's like, oh yeah, you know, we have gay race communism has taken over society and everything's falling apart and everything's terrible. And we know what to do. Give us a papal monarchy. Trust me, bro, it'll work. And you're like, what's it going to look like? Who, you know, like with this heritage American bullshit, right? You're like, okay, who's a heritage American? And they give a different answer every time. They don't have the slightest idea who a heritage American is. But I can tell you right now that they're going to know what a heritage American is when they decide that they're going to do something about it. So it's, trust me, bro, this is going to be good for all the heritage Americans. Who are they? Well, trust me, bro. And then they get the power. Let's pretend that they get the power to do this, because it's just suppose how it works. And then, you know, you're a heritage American, but he's not, right? Like Vish Burra, Indian as fuck, not a heritage American. He's out. Deport. See ya. Back to being a Dalit in India. And so, okay, then what? Stuff's still not working. So what's the problem? Well, we must have let too many people in whose families only go back to the Civil War. So we got to start like purging those. In communism, when they go through this cycle and start destroying everybody because the trust me, bro system's not working and they have to expropriate the blame onto somebody else. You know, the meme with Karl Marx's head in the middle, and it says propose communist solution, stuff falls apart, externalize blame, propose another communist solution, and it goes around in a circle. When the communists do this, it's called a red terror. When the counter-revolutionaries or fascists do it, it's called a white terror. It's still a terror.
As above,
it's still
so
the same thing.
It's Robespierreism. It's where, you know, like you have the guillotine and you cut someone's head off and there's still the problem, and you say, well, we must not have cut enough heads. It must be the next guy. And then all of a sudden you're going to find yourself on the chopping block because people are eventually going to turn to you. And that's the whole funny thing about this Vish Burra, or whatever the hell his name is. You know, that I keep joking with him. Like, he doesn't actually, I mean, how myopic do you have to be this fat Indian dude and think that you're not going to find yourself, you know, your head on the guillotine block eventually? Because your solutions won't work.
Resting on a pile of poo. Anyways, you know, there's something. It's funny that James mentions like, what is an American? Okay, he actually had a very, very good definition that he dropped at his latest conference, and he clipped this 2 days ago on the 29th. And I want to go over this and talk about it on the other side. So here we go. Here's the Grandmaster talking about what is since everyone is asking all of a sudden, let's address it. What is an American?
What is an American? An American is a citizen of the United States of America. Spiritually, an American also holds the foundational American belief that self-government is possible and opens the door to greater prosperity for each of us. It doesn't guarantee it. It opens the door to it. An American, therefore, has faith in the American dream, thus articulated, and keeps it and keeps his or her end of the covenant that it entails. And that makes it more than a dream. It makes it a promise. And he uses his American liberty to pursue the dream and the blessings of liberty that are held out in promise for the faithful and responsible citizens who will sacrifice to obtain them. Your participation is necessary. Faith without works is dead. You can't believe in the American dream and get rich. You've got to work for it too. An American is a classical liberal in all the regards presented here, who will fight and die if necessary to protect his God-given right to hold this faith in liberty, to keep this covenant and pursue this dream, the dream of the promised returns of the blessings of liberty, his just deserts, equity in the biblical sense, and to do so against any post-liberal interference from left or right. Thus, the Americans are the citizens of the greatest, freest, most prosperous, and most righteous nation that has ever existed on the earth. What is an American? Americans are a faithful people with regard to the blessings of liberty. But we recognize that it is a covenant that we must uphold and participate in. So we are responsible and we are practical. And just as we see in the Old Testament book of Numbers, when we wander in the desert and things are not going so well, and we have been given miracle after miracle from the blessings of liberty so far, and we doubt and lose our faith and wish to go back to the slavery and captivity of Egypt so we can have our cucumbers, then we also forfeit those blessings of liberty and shall not be permitted to enter into the promised land. It is not for us if we are faithless and if we are actionless and if we are irresponsible. Americans are people who understand this and live this. This is my call back to faith in America. Thank you.
Amen. USA, USA, USA,
USA,
USA.
James,
No, that's so true, Jim. I think we need to have faith in how things, like the progress we've made since our inception, since the Constitution, since the Declaration of Independence until now. I mean, we have the most prosperous nation. Think about most people's lives. They're either pretty damn good, pretty good. Usually they're not terrible. And if they are, it's usually like, maybe their parents' fault, maybe their personality. Like it's usually something like that. Maybe their choices. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're a victim of something. But for the most part, it works, man. It really works. And freedom of speech, man. Bill of Rights. That's really important. We're seeing the limitations of that in Europe, right? People can't speak out openly about certain things, and that's a big problem. You see what happened in communist countries, fascist countries, where there's like only one party allowed. That's a big fucking problem. So it's good to have always allow people to say what they want to say, speak freely, because that pushes us in the right direction. The truth will lead us in the right direction at some point, and we cannot. That's one of the things that I really despise about wokeness and the woke left is that they were trying to encroach on that. I think that even in America, they were trying to make laws or trying to at least scare people from sharing their opinions and get you fired or get you canceled or character assassination. But certainly, I think I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure in some states they were trying to make laws against hate speech and stuff, right? Like that, right? For misgendering somebody or saying a man is a man and a woman is a woman, right? And so, I mean, they wanted to do that too, and that's number one for me is freedom of speech. Like that's really, really number one for me. And that is what's kept us from going off the rails is freedom of speech, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, as crazy as things get, on X, and we've definitely seen the surge in anti-Semitism and stuff, and some people are like, why should this be allowed? The silver lining is it's actually seen that and having it come out in the open has kind of woken me up to the issue. I made this meme a while ago. It was Candace Owen, and she was whispering who made you a Zionist? And the guy was like, you did. So without that, if we didn't have what, I guess I am grateful that we do have freedom of speech and that X has become a free speech platform, as ugly as it can get. It's woken me up to certain realities that I wasn't aware of that existed, or that were as strong as I knew it existed. I just didn't realize it was
when you said, I'm sorry, James, when you said equity in the biblical sense, because someone in this thing that we call a chat did ask this question, and I do think it is again, broken clocks being right twice a day. What did you mean by equity in the biblical sense when you said that?
Receiving your just desserts. If God is the character that God is characterized as, then this is the theme of the book of Galatians. By the way, one of these other idiots in my Twitter chat is like, did you ever notice James talks about the Bible, but he never mentions anything by Paul? And it's like, you can't even do this right. So the book of Galatians turns out to be one of the Pauline epistles. But the book of Galatians is kind of this discussion, or part of it is this discussion about, how can God be perfectly just and perfectly merciful at the same time? But perfect justice, if you think about it, if that's a characteristic of God, and that's one of the promises, is that you are going to get what you deserve. If you deserve something good in return, that's what you get. And if you deserve something bad, that's also what you get, right? So when I said equity in the biblical sense, what I just meant is that you have, in the literal hard sense, philosophical hard sense, I would mean that you get what you deserve, perfect justice. But what it would mean in the practical sense is that there's a strong level of correspondence between the value that you are producing for others and the amount of value you can expect to see returned to your life. Exactly. Right. And my argument, this is actually, it's what the comedians call a callback. What you just watched, that 3-minute clip, is the very end of 6 lectures. That one was a little over 2 hours long. So it was a callback to an earlier remark that I made in that particular lecture, where I talked about the way that capitalism, if we want to use the word that we're never allowed to say, free enterprise is actually a better way to put it, that free enterprise allows people to develop an economic system that, based on the securing of their property rights and the ability to free them to engage in and solve problems for self and others, that what it allows them to do is to produce value for other people and expect, under the fundamental right to exclude, which is part of private property rights, to be able to exchange that solution for money or something else, right? Like my neighbor brought me a bucket of tomatoes from her garden yesterday, and I guess we could have bartered tomatoes for hot peppers or something. It doesn't have to be money. But the thing is like we have our own private property and we get to set the terms of exchange. And so when we get to do that, then what we end up with is a pretty faithful, that's the principle of free enterprise. What we end up with is a pretty faithful return, to where what you receive back out of the system is a, decent approximation, a fair approximation of what value, not what you've done, not how hard you've worked, not how good of a artist you are when you draw your anime characters or whatever, but you've produced meaningful value for somebody else. And they proved it by being willing to part with their money or other resources in order to obtain it. What you then have is a fairly faithful system that says that you're getting back out of in accordance to what you've put into. And that is equity. That equity in its real, actual meaning. Think about it in finance or in your house, right? You build equity. What does that mean? Well, in like when you buy your house and you say, well, how much equity do you have in your home? Well, it's how much of your money have you put into it, right? So it's how much of that money is actually yours. So how much of it is like your value that you have now accrued and retained? So the real meaning of equity, which the left stole to turn it into what the Russians call actual equality, or fakticheskoye ravенstvo. I can't ever fucking say that Russian word, ravенstvo. Anyway, the point is, actual equality was the doctrine of the Soviet Union from 1923, at least forward, from Stalin's 12th Party Congress. And the idea was what we call equity. The idea was that there's going to be equality enforced on economic grounds on every level, social, economic, cultural, everything's going to be made equal. All the DEI stuff, by the way, is this. The backwards people, Stalin said, will be brought forward through all the advancement that the party can bring to them. So all this investment in the backwards people, the DEI would be like BIPOC and gay and all that stuff, or the backwards people in our society are going to be elevated. That was the program. But the idea is that they perverted the program of equity, being that you have a faithful accordance of getting out of a system something like what you've put into it, the value that you've produced for it, I should say. That's the actual thing. The value you have produced for others. What value are you producing, by the way? You are doing something to increase their capacity to solve problems in their lives. Thus, they're willing to part with their resources to obtain those solutions. That's more or less what it boils down to. So they've perverted that and turned it into, oh, you just all deserve equal because you exist. So we're going to make equity be equal outcomes. Equity is not equal outcomes. It is a fair return on your investment.
And you know what? I'm going to put it in a way, because I used to sell cars, I think, and you can help me understand this. Let me know if I'm on the right track, James. I go in to trade in a car. That car gives me, the car's worth $20,000, but I owe $5,000. I owe $25,000 on it. So that negative equity of $5,000 has to go somewhere. That $5,000 goes on the new loan, the new car loan. Conversely, if I don't owe anything on that car and I get that same $20,000, that's $20,000 is going to come off the price of the new car. That's equity.
Yeah, this is why the reason I called it equity. Biblical is because all through the Bible you find, God saw their inequities and, whatever the situation was, and he's going to level the inequities in the end, when judgment comes. So the idea is everybody's going to have actually what they actually deserve. Well, the way that we measure that here down on earth is how much value can you produce for other people? And the only way you can know if you're producing value for people is if they're willing to buy it from you.
Exactly. Here's what's
And free enterprise, therefore, is the most moral system of economics that we have. Granted, there are some, places where it goes dark, monopolies and so on. But in principle, at the ground level, where it's based on the fundamental right to exclude, and you're allowed to do with your property as you will, in that regard, in terms of establishing the terms of trade, it's the most moral economic system that you can set into action. But the thing is it's also not controlled, right? There's no central planning. There's no stakeholder council telling you what to do.
The left completely, I mean, the word equity, I remember going back to this years ago. I mean, you take it from the Latin equitas, the etymology of the word. I mean, it just meant equality. And equity, the word originally, what it meant was not a bad thing. It just became this new speak where you said what people deserve. Well, the left had their different stratification of groups, while certain groups, because they've been quote unquote, historically more marginalized.
The backwards people.
Right. I mean, like our school district during COVID, for example, they had like Chromebook repairs. Kids were doing remote learning, so a big issue was that Chromebooks would break, and God knows what was going on with that. And so their equity solution was, well, blacks have been historically marginalized, and so we are going to give black students first in line Chromebook repair as a way to make it equitable. So
you should say that in the original Russian, again, not in the Russian language, but what they said. Blacks are backwards people, so we have to fix their computers first. Then you can actually hear what they're saying, right? This equity shit is like, it's like a smoke screen. But what they're actually saying, in the way that the Soviets actually use the term, is, black people are backwards people, so we have to help them more. Mm-hmm. That's their equity program.
Hold on. Matter of fact, I have something that is going to sound exactly like that. Hold on. I'm trying to find it now. Give me a second.
Backwards people.
Backwards people. Oh, fuck.
I'm telling you, that's what he called them.
That's what the Russians said that about black people, or about like the marginalized poor people?
It was about the people that were in different that were like in the different ethnic communities, like Ukrainians,
Dagestanis or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Them. Yeah, I think they're
Muslim
actually
Russians.
Jim, tell me if this sounds very familiar. This is a clip of New York State Governor Kathy Hochul last.
Oh yeah, you guys know this.
Please tell me if this sounds anything like that.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges. Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know.
Here.
Isaiah, I need to ask you,
Yes, sir.
Which white savior teacher taught you what a computer is? Do you have a name for us?
Isaiah still doesn't know what a computer is.
I was homeschooled, so I got to know not only what a computer is. I happen to have a wireless keyboard with no bite marks on it. Okay. Let me say, I like this, as you can see, this beautiful mic here. Again, I wasn't gnawing on this. Like the fact that she is the sitting governor of the state of New York, the state in which I currently reside. And she said that last year.
Well, here
nobody, yes, sir.
Let's compare. Okay. Let's just compare.
Come on.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out which sentence to start with. We'll just start in the middle here. They are incapable of rising to a higher level of development and thus catching up with the nationalities which have forged ahead unless they receive real and prolonged assistance from the outside. The causes of this actual inequality lie not only in the history of these peoples, but also in the policy pursued by Tsarism and the Russian bourgeoisie, which strove to convert the border regions into areas producing nothing but raw materials and exploited by the industrial developed central districts. This inequality cannot be removed in a short space of time. This heritage cannot be eliminated in a year or two. The 10th Congress of our party already pointed out that the abolition of the actual national inequality is a lengthy process involving a stubborn and persistent struggle against all survivals of national oppression and colonial slavery. But to overcome it is absolutely necessary, and it can be overcome only by the Russian proletariat rendering the backwards people of the Union real and prolonged assistance in their economic and cultural advancement. Otherwise, there can be no grounds for expecting the establishment of proper and durable cooperation of the peoples within the framework of a single Union state. And that was Stalin in 1923.
Stalin's
Niggers
woke.
are savages. We must help them.
Rudyard Kipling. This
Niggers are savages. We must help them.
These savages ain't noble.
That's what it is. Oh my God.
Damn.
That was Stalin over 100 years ago.
Ta-Nehisi
I'm
Stalin.
gonna add another layer, and this is
Ta-Nehisi Stalin. Holy shit. He's absolutely right. If you listen to any fucking pro-Democrat radical, okay, the Coateses, the what's her face with the red hair, the 1619 lady,
Nicole Hannah-Jones.
If you listen to fucking DL Hughley, if you listen to who's that bitch, Tim Wise, okay, like what was that? What was that, Frank?
I like the zoom in.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. It's an AI. I don't know why I did that. I just fixed it. It's an AI web camera.
That
so
is
it tracks.
Eli Mistal.
Like
Oh no.
Ellie Mistal, Joy.
Is that his name? I was like,
Oh my God, who makes me so sad? Like
he looks like a fungus ball, man, with his hair.
Jesus Christ.
Like a mold ball.
So everything about so in other words, the party says, and yes, so the party says niggers are stupid, so therefore we must help them. And then the black radicals turn right around and say, yeah, niggas, we stupid and we need help. Like that's what if we don't have nobody to help us, we need the Democratic Party right now. Like not like you are Uncle Tom. If you better get behind that black lady.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
This is intimately tied to this concept of the white man's burden. Rudyard Kipling,
yes,
great poem. Every student of history, take up the white man's burden, send forth the best ye breed. Go bind your sons to exile to serve your captive need, to wait in heavy harness on fluttered folk and wild, your new caught sullen peoples, half devil and half child. There is no better way to understand what many white teachers, white liberal progressives, their mindset going into public education in the hood, which is where I taught for 11 years, than through that lens, is these poor, downtrodden, and don't get me wrong, I mean those schools, they are chaotic. The first time I walked into a classroom, it was like a scene out of like Michelle Pfeiffer's Dangerous Minds. You had
Dangerous
kids,
Minds,
like,
yeah.
smoking out the back of the window, like, you know, Hispanic girls like doing their makeup.
What's up with all
like,
these books?
Kids rapping. It was crazy. But this idea that like they are these like savages and we are going to uplift them. It is our burden and turn them into. Now, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
part of what public education should do is it should enculturate and teach people skills, but it's kind of perversely become this idea of a lot of what's happening in schools, dumbing down of education and unnecessary accommodation has been stemming from this idea that black kids, brown kids, they're just different, and they don't learn the way we do, and they don't think the way we do, and they're not capable of the same things we are. And you see this nowhere more evident in this idea of like culturally relevant pedagogy. Like they can't understand, you know, traditional book learning. They won't understand it. You got to like, you know, instead of having them do an essay, have them do a rap or have them make a diagram.
Yeah.
You know, I had this one teacher. I mean, he was a really nice guy, and his heart was in the right place. But he'd like come to me, and these are freshman kids. He's like, "Oh, look at the pyramids they made. They did these diorama pyramids, and they made a diorama of ancient Greece." I'm like, "What do they know about it?" And the answer was very little, but like the idea like that this is how they learn was visually or
Yeah, what's the
kinesthetic.
point? What do you actually
I
learn
heard that
from
a lot. They like black kids are really kinesthetic learners. So if they get up in class and start walking around, that's just like how they learn, like kinesthetically. They learn through like physicality. They learn through sports. I mean, it's just fucking crazy.
It's like you're a different species.
You know what? You know what though, Frank? It explains how we end up with black black adults that do this shit.
Where's the Rock?
He's right here.
Off is a direction you can fuck.
No, dude, it reminds me of that white
what
supremacy
was that?
culture or whiteness culture and the
That was
Oh,
big
yeah.
bags of cash, Frank.
So that was a video
Yeah.
that was cut earlier this year by several black Twitter personalities, one of whom I actually know. Okay. And because essentially what they've done is these black Twitter celebrities or personalities, I won't call them celebrities, that's giving them way too much fucking credit. These people have basically, they were the ones who were getting all the blacks in formation for Kamala Harris last year on X. Okay. A lot of them are what you would call the quote unquote K hive. That is a phenomenon that's been going on since about 2019 or so.
Is that K-Hive still buzzing or what?
Yeah, it's still buzzing.
Still buzzing?
And guys like the one who was going like this,
Uh-huh.
you know, like doing the Dumb and Dumber dance, right? That dude has been at the forefront of a lot for the K-Hive. But again, it's like they're so desperate to have black like female leadership, and for no other reason except the fact that they're black. If you wonder how you end up with like Ketanji Brown Jackson, can't even tell you what a woman is, says I need a biologist to tell me what a woman is. No, you need a biologist who has been approved by the party that will tell you what a woman is.
Isn't this the same Jackson that was getting dressed down by Sotomayor about not knowing basic jurisprudence?
Yeah.
Like,
Wow,
if you're
was
getting
it
called out by
Sotomayor, really?
Sotomayor, I think
Yeah,
it was.
The issue,
Wow. 'Cause she's
Yeah.
pretty left,
Yeah.
isn't she?
yeah, like I'm so the thing I hate the most
Supreme Court
about
justice, man.
is that this revelation, this
Unbelievable.
this collective aha moment that we've all had tonight, gentlemen, is is that the left is really fucking racist.
Mm.
They're really fucking racist. They really think that black folk
And sexist, by the way.
and sexist, they think black people are fucking inferior.
Backwards.
Well,
people.
it's how you get these.
Backwards people.
Right.
Oh my God.
It's how you get, you know, the tragic irony of this is what they do is because they believe that they elevate mediocre black people
Mm.
into the public light,
Mhm.
political office, because they believe, well, this is the best we're going to get, so we might as well elevate them. And then that kind of reinforces
They're woke
it.
mascots.
You get people like Kamala
Yeah.
Harris,
Ugh.
you know, who is the worst representation.
How
of,
dare we speak Merry Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's really tragic. And I mean, like, yeah, it's, and
I
then
mean,
it
I've been trying to tell
reinforces-
people, like,
Yeah.
communists hurt the people they speak for more than they hurt anybody else.
Defund the police, man. Defund the
Defund-
police.
On the police.
What do you think that harms most? The high crime communities.
Defund the
Who
police.
lives in the high crime communities?
Like who's like Zoran here in New York City. You want to be fucking mayor of New York, but you want to turn all of these retail spaces in the subway that have been empty for years. You want to turn all of those into quote unquote treatment facilities for homeless people in the fucking subway. You want to the places that were once newsstands, right? That the MTA used to rent out. Oh no! We're gonna turn. What are you gonna turn those in the portable methadone windows? Is that what you like? Methadone booths? Is it like again? They don't want cops in the subways. They say nothing as Listen, I've lived here in New York City for 10 years. There have been times when I've walked in the subway system where there are just syringes all in the roadbed in the subway where the trains roll. Just use syringes. It's just like okay, so I guess we're gonna turn 42nd Street Port Authority bus terminal. We're just gonna turn that into a big fucking a needle exchange center, huh?
And Mamdani said,
but the thing is, it's like black folk. You know the biggest evidence of this of what you were saying, James, in DC. Think about this, boys. In DC right now, where Trump federalized the district and sent in the National Guard, federalized Metropolitan PD. Okay. The fact of the matter is, I have never seen this number of black people getting up and putting in and doing videos and saying we appreciate what is
same
doing.
here. I've seen a lot of that. Yeah.
Trump is out here saving black lives, and that burns these people's asses.
Yeah.
That black folk would stand up and go against the programming that they have been that we have been bathed in for the last 65, 70 years. It's the civil rights era. I've never seen somebody, and think of it this way. Here's the physical proof of it. All these protests talking about Trump go home and Trump you're a fascist and we don't need no police. They're mostly white.
All white people. Yeah.
They're all white and they're all boomers or young people protesting.
Young people.
It's crazy.
I just want to say real quick, Mamdani, man.
Hold on, I'm gonna
whoa.
Go ahead.
Wait. Hey, say, all right, there you go. I just used my fucking telekinesis right there. No, Mamdani, where did he go? Mamdani said that he said a quote, I think in a video a year or two ago, that he said that he doesn't know what prisons are for. Do you remember? Do you guys see that clip? Because that's a real thing. He's like on a podcast. He's like, somebody said something about prisons. And he's like, yeah. It's like, well, what are they even for? It's like
where people learn to bench press.
Yeah, or people learn yoga.
Vish Burrow should ask George Santos what they're for.
Yeah.
I think he's going to learn soon.
Pure chaos from these people, man.
You know, to kind of bring it back, this just occurred to me. It's so funny. We're talking about like what actually, what the Democrats and the left propose, like black people need versus what they actually do. And we were talking earlier about.
Sorry, boys.
What happened there, Bo?
That's okay. The thoughts and prayers thing. Like there is an audacity to the people that like put like black fists in their bio and put like trans flags and blacked out their profile. Like you're going to tell me like that thoughts and prayers aren't effective or don't work. Your entire movement was built on virtue signaling on social media, putting the right emojis in your bio, changing your profile picture to the right thing, wearing the mask in, your profile.
Like, doing the opposite of what you should be doing most of the time.
You're going to tell me
it's worse than nothing.
That was their form of prayer.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yep.
Last thing.
Empty virtue signaling.
Empty virtue. Exactly.
Harmful virtue signaling.
The best thing that white people could do right now, and by white people, I'm talking about these white liberals that Malcolm X warned us about. These
not you guys. You guys are cool.
You two. You two
guys are two of the good ones.
Yeah. No, because here's the thing, right? Like you know how black people like they love to say how black folk will always invite white people that they like to the cookout. Yeah. See, here's the thing. Like white guys like James and Frank here say these guys like barbecue. Okay, so guess what? We can share. Okay, the barbecue is going to be quite fun and lots of food. Anyway,
make sure you invite me to that, man.
Lots of beer.
Yeah, your invitation's in the mail. Don't forget to look.
Yeah, unlike last time. You better
by the way, because you were drinking on something, Frank.
What
This
in
is what
God's
I'm
name?
drinking tonight.
10.5.
10.1, baby.
What's the thing? You know, when I get invited to the cookouts, I like to wear what Nancy Pelosi did when she kneeled. What's that thing?
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna wear that to the
What are
cookout
those
and be
called?
like
Dashiki? What is it called?
No, that's corporate kente cloth.
kente cloth.
It's
Yeah,
corporate.
The best thing I
kente.
loved about that is if you know the history, those were actually worn by like
Shout to my wife, Kareen. Kareen actually coined that phrase. What I want to give her
Corporate kente. That's funny. That's good.
corporate kente cloth. Yes, love
corporate
it.
kente.
Thank you. Go ahead, Frank.
Weren't those actually worn by like the Nigerian royalty that were involved in the slave trade? That's what was so funny. And these
no.
Democrats, no, they were. They were worn by like the Nigerian elites that were
course.
actually involved in selling slaves to
Of
the
course.
Portuguese, to the Spanish, and go over America. So they're wearing these. They're kneeling. They're such fucking idiots, man.
God bless the Democrats.
Who needs to know their history?
Gentlemen, it's
Bullshit
been
your way
it's
through
been
it.
a real pleasure to have y'all on. I really appreciate this. This has been oh, my friend at the I. So Brad.
Wakandans.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Anyways, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to have y'all on.
Thank
And
you.
we really appreciate it. James, I thank you for being a great friend. I thank you for being a warrior for the truth. You are an amazing man, and I don't give a fuck when any of these people in the chat says
The bots.
the
You
bot.
got to feel bad for them, Isaiah. They're backwards people.
Yeah.
They are backwards people.
We got to mobilize the whole state to help them out or something.
What are y'all working on, James? What are you working on? By the way,
Nazis. I'm still doing my huge ass Nazi experiment podcast series. So
I did not see that coming.
Ooh.
I would-
Yeah, I'm reading basically it's not limited to, it's largely that I'm going through in a, highly contoured order pieces of Mein Kampf as a podcast series. So I'm putting out tons and tons of Mein Kampf so that people can send me messages like, my jaw was on the floor while listening to your podcast because I realized I've been reading Mein Kampf on X without citations for like 6 months now.
oh,
That's not your first time
it's
working with Mein Kampf,
yeah.
right, James Lindsay?
holy shit!
Well, I did a little work with Mein Kampf back in 18, a little famous work, feminazis.
It's so versatile.
Yeah, it applies to all kinds of assholes.
Yes, it does. And Frank, what are you working on at the moment, pal?
We're working on getting Americans for School Oversight up and running and trying to get, more of these kind of replicator efforts and our successes that we've had in our community and bring school, local grassroots oversight to the public school system so that people can rein in these, these tax bleeds that are not producing results that people deserve.
What's the
That's
website?
great.
Do you have a website you want to share?
Yeah, number 4 so.org. Very early. It's probably gonna take about another 12 to 18 months to really get where we want. But like we're taking names down for like people that we've already gotten a lot of interest in, people that want to like set these groups up. So next thing to do is like kind of work on funding as nonprofits so we can get people. You kind of need some like assets and infrastructure to set these up to go head to head with your school district and do it smartly and strategically.
I got you, gentlemen. Once again, it has been a pleasure to have y'all on. Greatly appreciate it. You boys have a great. Go ahead,
Isaiah. One more thing before they leave, man. Remember to tell them you always throw a great Kwanzaa party every year, and you guys are invited this year.
Oh, it's communist bullshit. I'm not going to that.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a fake communist holiday.
Isaiah, you didn't tell me your Kwanzaa's communist bullshit. I thought it was like
Just one day a
African
year.
tradition. All black people celebrate that.
Kwanzaa. I do not celebrate Kwanzaa. Never have.
I'm just kidding.
In
Of course
fact-
not. Nobody does. That's crazy.
Listen,
Besides Kamala.
listen. I come from real quick. I just want to say this. I come from very good stock. Kevin and Robin Carter. Shout to my mom and my
Out to
pop.
the Carters.
Who Nick? You actually met.
I met him.
Yeah, you met him.
Talked to him for a while. Yeah.
They raised they raised my brothers and I right, man, because the first time that when we started seeing like Kwanzaa, like we grew up, like we were little kids in the late 80s and in the 90s, whatever. And we asked about Kwanzaa because we're kids. They're like Mommy, Papa, we love Kwanzaa, and they were like, no.
That's beautiful.
Both of
That
them
is based.
No.
Based in the 80s.
Kevin and Robin Carter are two of the most based people you will ever meet, and I'm so glad that they didn't keep that they didn't let us fall into any of that communist dog shit growing up. So there are so we don't do Kwanzaa, we don't do we don't do any of that. No,
Not even the communists do that.
Yeah, it's full blast capitalist, very, very extra capitalist barbecues.
Capitalist barbecues, yes.
Those Kwanzaa parties are populated by bots.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Carrie's back in the chat. She said, wait, isn't Nick here stalking James for Carlin? Gross. Oh,
is that true? Wait, what does that mean?
There was some Nick guy. Nick Incognito. I don't know. No, not you. It was another Nick.
Oh, okay.
No, I blame you.
Fucking weirdo.
Like, I'm laughing. I don't know why. Okay.
By the way, a friend of mine wanted to ask you, Jim, if you do you agree that letting the child lead was a bad idea?
Yeah.
It usually is.
Who asked you? Do you know who asked you that?
No.
My friend Osborne, Matt Osborne.
Oh, Matt Osborne. Shout out to Matt.
That's that question.
Yeah,
Anyway,
letting the child lead, the democratic classroom, all that horse shit.
Real dumb. Really dumb.
No, kids need like boundaries and structure and all kinds of stuff, and their talent is channeled through that to help them grow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yo, real quick, when are you boys coming? Like, are any of y'all are you two coming into like the New York area at all?
Come on, man.
You gotta come, man.
Come on, dude.
Let's plan a trip. A Kwanzaa celebrate. It'll be
Kwanzaa miracle. We should throw a Kwanzaa party.
We should. Ironically do like a Kwanzaa party.
Yeah. I'll throw it. I'll fucking throw it. I'll wear the kunta cloth.
No,
I'll wear that.
Corporate kente
cloth. Yes,
corporate kente cloth. I'll wear that with the freaking hat and everything.
Gentlemen, we thank you for stopping by. Please, again, y'all are welcome to this show anytime you like. Thanks again for joining us, guys. We really appreciate
thanks a lot, guys. This is great.
Thank you, Nick and Isaiah.
Thanks, bros.
Thanks so much.
Do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Oh, that was great.
That was fantastic.
That was a lot of fun, man.
Let me just do one quick thing because I want to make sure that this one person. There's some. I want to actually share this. Just give me one quick second here. I've been meaning to. I've been waiting for this, and these guys are. We're blessed, bro. We're blessed. We are blessed.
I agree with you.
And it's really, really good to have such wonderful people in our lives. This show has provided so much way of, of making connections and this is one way that I'm very, very thankful to do this show. I want to end our.
Hey, Carrie. I want to say hi to Carrie there. I didn't see this message.
Love you,
Carrie Smith, follower.
Thank you
programmed
so much for everything. Thank you for looking out,
tuning in.
And again, and you're somebody, Carrie, like dead ass, Carrie. I want if you're ever in the New York area, please let us know when you're coming.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want to end this show tonight. I want to end the show with a little bit of soccer talk. A little bit of soccer talk. It's not. I promise, Apostate Radio is not a soccer podcast, but I will say this: we both are very, very dedicated soccer fans. And
Oh, I haven't gone that far. I'm not that dedicated.
well,
I used to be. I
Are
used to be very dedicated.
okay. Show everybody your arm.
Well, I mean, okay.
Show them your arm.
That was a long time ago, but I do love Real Madrid.
Okay.
But I only, hey, to be fair, I'm a casual now, man. I'm a casual now. I always be a Real Madrid supporter, but I only watch like Champions League games. I don't even catch the Barcelona games half the time. That's partly because Barcelona are a bunch of bums. I don't respect them
On your skin,
personally. I know.
If it's on your skin,
Yeah,
you're dedicated.
enough, I guess. But I'm not who I used to be. Maybe one day I'll get back to being more dedicated.
So this is so.
I do love the game.
Yes, as do I, and I've been meaning to play a lot more, but I just haven't had the time with this new move that's taking place in a little over a month. We are moving to a different part of New York, which is very exciting. But I really want to get this out because we had a great time last night.
Yeah, that was fun. Look at this.
Great time last night.
Great time.
Yankee Stadium. That is that's us. We were in a really great section. Got a great view of the stadium, of the field rather. Shout to my wife Kareen. I love you, baby. Thank you so much. It was a
shout out to Kareen.
Really great time.
It really was.
Okay.
Really was.
And I got and we won. DC United won.
Congrats.
A massive upset.
Big dub.
Needed
dub.
2-1 over the Pigeons and shout to New York City FC. Great franchise. I love them. They've got a great dedicated fan base. Great guys. And Nick is Nos is just one example of such, but New York City FC, great club. Love you.
Looking forward to that stadium 2027. I told y'all. Nostra Chavez told y'all.
Yes, he did.
Since 2013, I told everybody. You said I was crazy. You thought I was crazy. Nope.
And I'm gonna say this too, and I'm gonna just give another quick shout out to somebody else who is a friend of mine, a friend of Kareen and I's, a friend of just a great guy, Connor Antley. Defender, the defender, back linesman for
neck on that guy.
United. Connor Antley, you are a great American. Jordan Farr, one of his best friends in all of creation, another great guy. Got to see him last night. Really, really, really good guys that play on this club. Okay? And I mean this wholeheartedly.
Same with New York City, too. They've always been great guys. I've talked to them a million times after games in the locker room, and they're really, really nice guys, always there for the fans.
Malachi Jones, Tavon Gray, Maxi Morales, who I got to
James Sands,
Matt Freese, who I got to see. Great.
Justin Hack. Yeah.
Justin Hack, who we saw walking into the stadium. Great group of guys. But I got pulled up by a fan who apparently listens to my show a little bit more than I thought. Okay, he's someone who I didn't expect. I didn't expect it.
Indeed.
When you said soccer talk, you really meant soccer talk. Yeah, doing my best Carlin B impersonation.
Thanks, Nick. Is this the spy, or is he a friend of ours? I don't know.
I don't know.
Thanks for coming, Nick. Appreciate the views, man.
Nick. We appreciate it.
14,000 views. Thank you. Over 14,000. You guys are great. Come every week. That's great.
Fantastic. You guys, seriously. We really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Even with all of the negative engagement, we really appreciate it.
That was fun.
What y'all meant for trolling and distance and irritation, God meant for good. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, let me get back to this. This guy had been listening to this show and some of the other things that I've done over the years. And I've been hard on DC United. I mean, haven't won any games in 3 months. It's been 12 matches, and we ain't won. We haven't won anything.
It's a long time in soccer, man.
Long time. It's a long season.
Depressing. It's depressing when that happens.
And
Dismal.
yeah, it has been. I mean, no wins, a bunch of draws.
Yeah.
And I was convinced at one point that like we had a guy by the name of Troy Lesane who was our head coach. He was the interim head coach for New York Red Bulls for a time, and then was signed to DC United at the beginning of 2024. Had a great, he decent guy, but I think he basically got the club to wherever he was going to get us to, and that was it. And after a while, it was frustrating just watching him. It was frustrating. It was a very frustrating time. And so the club fired him after he lost the US Open Cup, after he got bounced out of the Open Cup. And I was convinced at the time that DC were going to just continue letting the club just lose. I had questioned the seriousness. DC United have been beaten up on the national stage by guys like Landon Donovan, who have just flat out just asked ownership, are you guys even serious?
Good question.
Yeah, are you serious about this? Like, and if you're not, just sell the fucking team and get it over with. I mean, Landon Donovan was one of the first to ask that question. But even I have been critical, very critical, and I'm not gonna defend myself too much, because there were times when I was probably a little bit more harsh than I should have been, and I got called out because just recently, DC United hired Renee Weiler, 51-year-old Swiss coach. He's originally from Switzerland. He has quite a resume on him. I'll just give you a matter of fact. I'll just share this real quick. The press release, just so I can give everybody context to this, right? Like why we're doing this. Renee,
I'll be right back, guys. Yeah.
What's that?
I'll be right back.
Oh, go.
Got it.
Yeah. So Renee Weiler has over 24 years of coaching experience, 6 major trophies. This is a guy, he's won league titles in Belgium, Egypt, Switzerland, a UEFA Europa League quarterfinal run with Anderlecht, league title in Egypt with Al Ali. Like, we're talking about a guy. This is a big signing, right? A massive signing, honestly, as head coach. And I was pulled up by a guy last night who said, you owe an apology. You said that this club were not going to hire a big time coach. And to be honest, it is true. I did not think that we were going to sign a big, because Troy Lesane wasn't a big coach. He wasn't. Troy Lesane was not a big coach at all. And in fact, he was in fact, he was someone I thought was a stopgap, especially when Dominic Torrent was right there and Jason Levian passed up on him because he was too expensive. So I didn't think that there was going to be a hiring of a big time coach. And I was wrong. Over the last several games, I've noticed a change in this club. I've noticed a fire that has returned to this organization. It's a slow build. Like, I've noticed, like, over the last 3 matches, DC have not lost. Couple draws, and then last night's victory. And I have to say, these guys are playing differently. There are things that are being that are noticed, and I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong for doubting I was wrong for doubting the seriousness of DC United as an organization when it came to hiring the hiring of a gaffer. I was completely and totally wrong, and this is my apology. I love this club. I'm gonna tell you exactly like I said to him last night. I'm gonna read exactly what I said. I said to my friend, I said to this young man, I said, listen, I mean it when I mean it when I say it. I love this club. Every last one of you. Every last one, from the players and coaches to the front office staff. I see how hard they work. I see how much you put in, both mentally, physically, and emotionally. There's strains that these people go through with their family members for quality time, since they're always on the road, they're always working, right? I see this, and I just and again, every time that I have criticized this club, I've always tried to be very careful to make sure that I was respectful of the effort and respectful of what y'all were doing. And I was wrong in my assumption that you weren't serious. And so I am sorry for I do apologize for doubting y'all in this case. This club is full of good men and good women, and DC United have been a big part of my life for many years. I started following this club in 2013, and then in 2021, when Kareen and I went to our first DC United match, a few DCU games together, while I was still a season ticket member, you guys became a bigger part of my life than I even expected. And I love this club. I think that y'all are headed in the right direction. And I will continue to support. And I do once again apologize for being wrong about your hiring of a big coach. So please forgive me. And with that, I love this club. Seriously. Let me just do that again. There we go.
A little tongue next time.
Shut up. Anyways, that's our show.
Forgive him. Forgive my brother, man. He does love DC United, and he is.
I do.
And he is admitting it. He's admitting it. You got to give him props for that.
And by the way,
that he was wrong.
Art piece here that I'm wearing, the Soul Kit, beautiful piece. This is a great kit.
That's a nice kit.
I love this one. The one right before this, the Cherry Blossom kit, is an instant classic in my opinion. Also, I think, matter of fact, I want to give a shout out also to DC's creative director, Monsieur Camille Tano, who helped put this together. I want to do this too, because we got these, and also shout to Matt, because this was fantastic. This right here, my number that I've chosen for myself was number 52, and if you look here, Mr. Carter and Mrs. Carter. So we got our first kits. These are our first kits together as husband and wife. We love this team, man. We love this club. We always will. And so thank y'all again. Camille, merci beaucoup. We love you too, brother. Thank you. That's our show tonight. We greatly appreciate it. We will be back, or at least you might be back next week. I'm going to be away. I'm going to be actually out of town next weekend. But anyways, that's our show tonight. We really appreciate it. Any final thoughts, Nick, before we get out of here? You're muted, by the way. You're muted.
Hey, yeah, I sent you some one of our friends here, JB, J Audex sent us I guess Big Mama was talking trash about us on Twitter. Big Mama KB.
Oh God!
So I replied and I left a little. I CC'd you guys in case you want to see what I said.
Oh boy, I'll take a look. Oh God, that's our show. Thank y'all so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. We will see y'all on the next one. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for watching. Love you all.